Praise man.
I can't believe the things that I've been through in life, as well as personal experience, as well as training. My background is criminal psychology with a emphasis on social sciences, as well as psychological issues such as criminology, special education. I currently work with special needs children at Shortridge High School, from which I'm a graduate. I'm also have over 15 years of working in the field of HIV and HIV prevention and training. I was previously a board president for Women in Motion, which is prevention through education. I also worked as a facilitator for the state of Indiana.
Go ahead, bro.
Closely with HIV patients on a daily basis, where I got a lot of experience in the issues of having problems with medical healthcare, as well as issues with the type of healthcare that's offered, resistance. My job was to work with HIV patients who had like 10 or 15 different providers. A lot of times they would get frustrated, all the mixed information, and they would just stop taking the medicine. So having done that, and also being one of the first navigators for the Affordable Care Act. Recently, I was also certified as an infectious disease control through Victory Innovations Education, dealing in environmental control. I'm vaccinated, double vaccinated, intend to get my booster shot soon. And I'm very excited to be here. I'm a man who has always been, very much interested in science. I'm open-minded, and I'm here to hopefully be enlightened as well as to inspire.
And so we got a other guest. Thank you, Dad. Now I know he's Martin, but I call him Dad because that's my father-in-law, and that's my dad. So
we don't use all that law and all that.
Right. But I'm just kidding. I got to keep it there. So Sean, who joined it again. I followed this brother on and peace to you, brother. Thank you so much for coming on. I followed you on Facebook. I don't even know how I ended up following you. I know that I watched several different ones, and so for some that may be familiar with Brother Ock and Garfield and different things of that nature, and different people, and I know that you, I don't know if this was your first book or if you wrote something before. I know you with is it the Mossy Clan?
Mossy, yeah.
But one of the things that really interested me about you is that I saw you always try to bring peer review information out. You're really big on science. You're really big in African culture, and anytime I see anybody speaking about the Meta Nature or the hieroglyphs, for many that don't know the sacred language of Kemet or Egypt, for those and then try to tie that science in West Africa, things like that. I'm always interested, always pay attention, and so I know that you're always posting. You always have people coming at you when you post something. I see that, and you handle your business when it comes to that, and so. You always send me a link, and I try to read or at least look at some of the YouTube that you put out. And so when you sent something the other day, I was like, let me ask this brother, because I know we were going to talk about this if he'd be willing, because you just wrote the book, and we'll allow you to kind of talk about that. But so Brother Six up top and Big Pat and myself, we formed the Back Alley Fella podcast, and I've sent you a couple. Dr. Hayes is my wife, Soror. And she graciously came on at the last minute to provide some information and to go there. And so, like I said, we're gonna try to talk about a lot of things, but we really want to just educate our people, and we really just want to have an open and honest conversation, be respectful, and really just let people see that whether we have differences of opinions, whether we agree or disagree, we can always talk and communicate effectively, and with grace. And so, Sean, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump into it. Okay.
Absolutely. My name is Sean. On Facebook, my name is Ini Haret Sean Kalfani. Ini Haret means he who brings back the lost. Kalfani means shall lead. That's basically what that means. So you don't have to call me that. You just say Sean. I've been a science enthusiast since I was a kid. I've been really big on research methodology, and in Kemet they call it Tep Hesed, which is the correct method. And so I've been, heavily entrenched in that. I would show y'all my library, you know what I mean, but it's to my right, and I changed my office around so you can't really see it. But a lot of my books are about research methodology, historical method, scientific integrity, a whole bunch of research manuals. And the reason for that is because it was about getting it right. Excuse me. It was about getting it right. So whatever we say to our people, we need to make sure that we get it right. And that's been a key problem with a lot of things that we have going on in the community today. However, I've been privileged to be an author of 10 books, 8.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So I'm gonna break it down. 4 by myself, co-authored 4 other books. Okay, and basically we write collectively because we're trying to advance knowledge, the knowledge of Cheikh Anta Diop, Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, John G. Jackson, Amos Wilson, Chancellor Williams, our sister Frances Cress Wilson, many Theophilo Banga, many African giants or African American and African giants that are centered in entrenching and advancing information for our people. They're no longer here. So a lot of those people, we have to stand on their shoulders and move their information forward, correct what needs to be correct, and give our people the truth. So that's pretty much what we do. We're a research team. Like you said earlier, I'm a member of the Masi Warrior Clan. I'm a member of the Seshu Mani Medu Neter, which is where I learned the Medu Neter. Also, Kofi Paisai research team. We have a scholarship program in the Gambia in Africa. We work hand in hand with them. We also have a business, the Mboka clothing brand, with those brothers and sisters in the Gambia. So we've not only built relationships with our brothers and sisters on the continent, we actually are bringing that, what we call Pan-Africanism, forward. And I am fully vaccinated as well. Moderna. I don't need a booster shot, but for those people who want to have a booster shot, I know we'll probably get into that. It just depends on which vaccine you ever had. The reason that I take the position that I actually take, we'll probably get into that discussion a little bit later. Like I said, I'm a science enthusiast. I'm not too much into the conspiracies. I don't shun people. And I like genuine dialogues, but when you have people that intentionally want to mislead it, it can get a little bit feisty. Also, my latest publication is What SARS-CoV-2 Taught Me. And what many people think of in the conscious community, this would be the first book written about COVID-19 in our community, or the community that I'm in. And I've got great feedback. I had the privilege of sitting on panels with doctors, specialists in the field of epidemiology, immunology, and virology. I took courses on virology because that's where it all starts. These are my college level course class books. So they're expensive too. So
Yes, sir. Put that in there.
Yeah, so
Yes,
just to have that focus. So it wasn't me sitting here and just kind of ruffling through things. It was an actual whole process, and in that process, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about our people in the middle of a pandemic that taught us a lot of lessons. I learned a lot about how we disseminate information. I learned about how hard it is for doctors to actually communicate the things that they know to people. And the latest doctor who read through my book and is purchasing like 5 copies, he was like, I got to get this because you're connecting dots that I can't connect. And you're speaking from a layman's perspective, and the way that you actually wrote this and the direction that you went into it was pretty fascinating for him. So, and I got 30 pages of sources in this book. So it's heavily sourced, and yeah, there's a lot of peer review information in there. There's a lot of good things, but it's a learning process, and it's about retaining information. And in order for us to solve our problems, we need to do things. We need to do some things scientifically different in order to be better at what we do. So that's my push from my perspective, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
No.
Other than Dad, love to have you there,
other than Dad, I'm the eldest of our group, and I want to tell all three of you are welcome. And I'm gonna start, if it's okay, Mike, and I'm gonna come from this perspective because we have all these experts on here, so I actually want to hear what they have to say. But as for people that are watching and listening, of course, we know it's everyone's choice, but I'm urging everyone, especially in the African-American community, to get vaccinated. Currently, I just looked on USA Facts, that it's saying that only about 30% of African-American people are vaccinated. And of those 30%, our women seem to be, our queens are more vaccinated than us. Here's my perspective. I had COVID, and I had it to a point. And I want to take everybody, if you can just, because words can't explain this, if you can just take yourself to a place in your mind to feel what I felt at that moment, that for about 2 days there, I literally prayed and asked God, if you're going to take me tonight to make sure my wife and my kids were taken care of. I literally thought that I was going to die that night. Not just, and those for Dr. Hayes and Dad and Sean, I've been to combat twice. I'm a 32-year Army veteran. I've been on the battlefield in combat fighting twice, not behind no desk. I'm talking about kicking in doors, fighting. And the scariest time of my life was 2 days that I had of COVID.
Wow.
And I urge everyone, I just can't understand, and maybe hopefully this conversation we generate will help me better understand. I just can't understand why we're still fighting this vaccination. Oh, I am fully vaccinated. And last but not least, I would take a whole nother set of vaccinations if they offered them.
And so what we want to do, and for everyone, we call it the neighborhood double dutch. Because what we tend to do is oftentimes out of respect, we want to listen to everyone. But in a conversation, in our kind of conversations, we get in where we got to get in and try. And that's what we want to have. We don't always make that happen.
Achieve that.
Achieve that. And we don't want to be too long where we want to make sure. So, I have to do the Dave Chappelle skit and praying to wrap it up. You know what I mean? To make sure that everybody can get a chance to get in. And I'm going to do a lot of listening. But one of the things that, where I work at, and I won't talk about that much more than, for an agency. And we're working on this, trying to decipher the legality, and well, not really the legality, but the how we're going to, what we're going to do with the policy of the mandate for employees, whether they take it or not, the reasonable accommodations, religious practices, things of that nature, if they submit it, so forth and so on. And I would say that as a person that maybe felt one way a while back, being vaccinated, family vaccinated, I'm not all comfortable, and I'll be honest with people having to choose between their job, and I'll be honest. But what fascinates me more than anything is I'm really trying to understand why people feel that way so strongly, but would take another form of medication or treatment for something else. And I'm trying to figure out, what is it about this vaccine that has people so polarized that they want to go this route? But Dr. Hayes, what I really want to ask you is because Trey told me a little bit about some of the things that you had to do is setting up triages outside of the emergency room, and whatever you can share, love to hear. What you can't share, we understand. But can you just kind of lay out what you've seen and how doctors, your peers, your colleagues, and nurses and things of nature, how they're feeling right now, the real honest feeling of being tired. And can you please go there? And then we're gonna, and anybody jump in when they can.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So, so this platform and the influence that collectively you gentlemen have is just awe-inspiring to me. This is, really amazing, and what we need to help our community and to increase our vaccination rate. So, so I started out back in late February, March on I call them the COVID streets. So the company that I have contracts with and help to staff, we were in California. We had 5 different COVID hospitals field hospitals in California, like 3 around LA, 2 around LA, and then 3 in San Diego area. And then we had one close to the border in a town called El Centro. Just in that time that I was in California, I took care of hundreds and hundreds of COVID patients, intubating, putting on a life support machine. Mm-hmm. Then we were in Michigan, and we had a similar setup. We had actually the 2 convention centers in Detroit were set up as COVID hospitals. Mm. Wow. And so we were manning that. About 3 doctors, myself, so 4 doctors, and then we had some respiratory therapists and the rest of our team. And it just went, on and on. We just, I would say probably first part of June, closed up our last field hospital out in Southern California, close to the U.S.-Mexico border. And I'll be quite honest with you, it's taken a toll on a lot of us. I used to post about it a lot, share about it, talk about it a lot. And you get to the point where, especially when you talk about what is causing a lot of the hesitancy, the not being vaccinated, where all the conspiracy theories and things are coming from. Me talking to patients, and I like how Sean said how, connecting the dots and talking to people on a very real level, just having normal conversation. The primary reason, the first thing I would say that comes to my mind when we talk about hesitancy and not being vaccinated and things like that is politics. I get a lot of that about, who came up with it, where it came from. We don't trust him. We don't trust her. That is probably one of the biggest things that I hear. And then after that, we have all the kind of the additional, things about, well, if you get vaccinated, it's going to put a metal chip in you. If you get vaccinated, you're going to your DNA. If you get vaccinated, you're going to have
NOs.
The chip changing your DNA. You're going to grow fertility. You're going to have all that. So, and so I try to, of course, the emergency department, I work various emergency departments around, the city, and I still travel to emergency medicine. But, so I try to talk to people as quickly as I can, because I can't stay in the room a long time. But some of the things I really try to do is dispel some of those myths like super, super quickly. And so, so myself and my colleagues, what we're trying to do is, and it's amazing how quickly, God answers prayer, because I had just said, and I recently had a death of a very, very, very close friend of mine who was not vaccinated, 52-year-old woman, mother of 4, 6 beautiful grandchildren, refused to get vaccinated, hypertension, diabetic, diagnosed with COVID one Saturday, and by the next Saturday morning, she was found in her bed dead. And just progressively continued to get worse, short of breath, refused to go to the hospital, et cetera, et cetera. And so I talked to a mutual friend of ours, and I said, God, I said, I was devastated. That was just this weekend. I was at a big medical conference and all that, and I'm on the line, and I'm just devastated. And a friend of mine said, Linda, you all got to get back out there. You got to start talking about it, because, we know it's a lot going on. Some folks trust you, some don't, but more trust you than not. And you all, especially as physicians of color, Black physicians, you all have to get out there and get back on your live streams, get back on your social media, talk about what you're seeing, you know, have patients come in and share their experiences. Because, you know, we kind of at a gridlock. You know, it's kind of like some doctors even feel like, you know, everybody's going to get vaccinated, pretty much is going to do it. And that's, you know, we are where we are, and we just need to be prepared for, you know, for this next surge. You know, more people are going to die because, you know, we don't really know what else we can do to get through to people. Well, I feel like, you know, again, forums like this, hearing from you all and having, you know, healthy dialogue and conversation is how we're going to break through that. But I will tell you, of all the patients that have ever put on a ventilator and intubated, not one of them that had COVID, not one of them was vaccinated. I have no patients that I put on a ventilator for life support that was vaccinated.
So right, that alone should. But I got some backup. But go ahead, Patty. Then I want to hear.
You know, it's funny that you said that because I'm kind of like one of the stat guys. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking right now from the USA Facts website, and it says that there is no evidence linking deaths reported to after vaccinations or the vaccinations themselves. So I'm not understanding where everybody's getting this from. Well, and the sad thing about this is you can pass it on to somebody else.
Well, yeah,
Right.
and I know that the vaccine doesn't actually prevent that. So a couple of threads were coming through, and I tried to watch a little bit earlier today. I actually pulled some information and was going through it, and I'm gonna go back through it. So I don't know if so I was watching. Some might be familiar with Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I was watching him, and he a while back. So I was just rewatching what he was talking to, and it was a Dr. Christine Parks.
Yes,
I saw it.
And the one and so I remember that, but I didn't watch it. But I remember. So so she was on. So I was listening to her. Then I tried to click to see if I could actually see her testimony. And there's bits and pieces. I think they might have took it down and maybe try to.
I got it.
I don't know with the whole thing. So I try to pull her actual testimony, and I got some of the stuff of resources. And then I pulled another gentleman by the name of Edward Neuenberg, who is has a degree in bio something out of Cornell, but he's kind of been considered like the myth buster. And so he just went through all of her things and just kind of tried to dispel in writing. So I printed all of that out because I wanted to go through it, and I'm going to do it at a later date. But what I found myself was that if, and I got a degree or two here and there, and I think I'm educated.
No, you are.
And so, but I felt myself that if I listen long enough to someone and they see, now there were questions that I was raised as I was listening to her, but she laid out, I guess, a convincing argument when there's no one there to challenge. And my problem is that all too often we don't have those two perspectives. Someone that maybe has some credentials and maybe has some idea of some study in some form or fashion, but we don't have that opposing view to be able to challenge that, where people can say, okay, that makes sense. And then the other part, and I like, Dad to come in and shine, and then definitely jump in, Pat, everyone. I hear people say the vaccine, blah, blah, but as my wife would always say, okay, but if not that,
then what?
What?
Mm-hmm.
And I never hear the
what?
The what part. Like, okay, not that, but what? And it sounds specifically. When it comes to you, because Dad, I want you to touch in. I want you to touch, because I remember I said something recently about there was an argument about the natural herbs and things of that nature, which I think is fine, and I think in a healthy environment, I don't think there's anything wrong with eating healthy. I don't think anything is wrong with that, but I'm dismissing that and saying that it's not Black or African to then not follow science if we're the creators or the discoverers of science and things in that. But first, Dad, go with it any way you want to go. And you know, Patent 6, you know how we do. Just jump in when you got to jump in.
All right.
Dr. Hayes.
All right. So,
Dr. Hayes, I gotta say. Oh, okay. Go ahead, sir.
no. You go. You know, I'm gonna yield the floor. You go ahead.
I'm tempted to give the Delta call, but my daughter says, "Dad, you gotta stop doing that."
Yeah, don't do that. No, that's a no. No, that's a no.
I know. So I just gotta teach you on that. I want to say it so bad. But you know, I love what you said. Everybody, Sean, I mean, dude, me and you could just all night long, right? I've always been, ever since I was a little child, I've always been interested in theology. I've always been interested in science. I've always been interested in psychology, and I've always been interested in philosophy. And those forums, I think, for me, define not only my present day thought process and critical thinking, but just I'm so happy to be living in the 21st century. I mean, when I was a little kid, I was like, God, please let me just be the 48, because then it'd be 21st century. And now here I am in there, all these tools, all this knowledge that has come about. I mean, I come from a time when you had to go to the library, Jack. Okay? And you had to have, I grew up on Star Trek. You know, all these things that were just,
I mean, most of us did.
What's that file where you find your books? With
The Dewey Decimal? The Dewey Decimal?
Yeah, we all, what are you talking about? We all grew up on that.
I got books right now that if I took back, they'd arrest me. They've been looking for me for 40 years to bring that book back.
That's real.
Let me say this, to start out with a couple of things. One, I have come to the point after listening to so many nonsensical arguments about this whole thing that it frustrates me, because, as was mentioned before, sometimes it can get so ridiculous that it's hard to keep yourself in check when you hear people say something so, I just use the word nonsensical, that you just like, have you really thought about what you were saying? I mean, how do you accept two diametrically opposed concepts, both of them true? I don't trust the government, but I stand by the government telling me my right to, to do what I want to do. I don't trust, and so we can go on and on. But what I've come to understand now that is another problem that we have. It's a social psychosis, and this comes from a very, let me put it this way. When the only thing that can make a normally seemingly intelligent person, or even a reasonable intelligence, ignore things right before their eyes, ignore truths or anything deniable, is two emotions that are well-founded in psychology that blind you to the truth, to the honest. And that's fear and anger. If I am afraid enough, you can show me right before my eyes evidence, and fear will really just, I can't connect, right? We have evidence of that. We can go all the way back to, from Germany to, you got this little short guy that was telling them that all white people were superior. He was like 5'2" and dark haired, and they were looking straight at him and like, what? Because they couldn't see this. So today, we have in our society in particular, and I want to focus on that, we have this fear and we have this anger. Yeah. We're angry about the way we've been treated. That just literally is just become rage with us. So we have what I call the psychology of defiance. Because you said I should do it, therefore I feel like I should. It don't damn the evidence. I mean, you not just describe. I want to wait and see how many people take it first. Millions of people. How many? What? 10 million? 20 million? Right? But let your butt get sick and the doctor come in and say, well, you just might save your life. You'd be like, give it to me. So we understand that part. The other thing is that what conspiracy theories are rooted in the idea of focusing blame. Okay? And they're always based in a little bit of truth. That's what makes them so effective, is there's always an element of truth to a conspiracy theory. But the idea behind it for psychologically is that if not for you, I wouldn't have this. I wouldn't have this problem. we're this way because of you. And the conspiracy theory just feeds that idea. So if it wasn't for the way you treated us, all the things that we're dealing with, you know, it's because of you. Therefore, I don't want to see any other evidence to the contrary. So that helps me to psychologically position myself, you know, to the point where I can deal with both the fear and the anger. The other thing I want to point out is that having worked in HIV for almost 20 years now, there's a pattern. Maybe some of you may not remember because, like I said, 20 years ago, when HIV back in the early 80s first hit, you know, public knowledge, it was a gay black man's disease. And it was they found it in monkeys and they did, you know, and so the backlash was, we was like, I ain't gay. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to worry about it. Right? Well, watch this. Now that we have begun, and Magic Johnson, he's getting some kind of special treatment. You know, everything had a conspiracy behind it. Now watch how this thing, you can almost juxtapose that same scenario on this right here. What happened was, as they begin to develop, and I want to also mention one last thing. There's a difference between the healthcare system and medical science. Totally two different things. And that's one of the other problems I think we find is that you have people arguing, jumping from one to the other. They're trying to use, well, you know, they profit off COVID. You know, hospitals get more money for COVID. But why? Well, respirators and all that costs way more, right? So they, you know, it's always this confusion, and then they jump that as the reason. Well, that's why I'm not getting, because they're making money off of it. It's not. So here's the thing. With HIV, and this is the problem now, and I'll turn it over to someone else. The problem is now that you never hear a lot talking about it, but yet we estimate about 70 million people walk around now with HIV, the virus of HIV, without even knowing it. Because history has shown that you can go a long time and be asymptomatic. Which that's another word people don't understand. They don't mean that asymptomatic means you have it with no symptoms. It doesn't mean you don't have it. But that's another way we complain. So here's the thing. Because our science now has developed treatment for it, where a person can survive. There's only been, I think, 1 or 2 cases where when they stopped medication, it was non-detectable. Other medication is non-detectable. And now we found out after years of research, it can be non-transferable. So now it's like the way it was with venereal disease back in my day in the early 70s. You know, you catch it, go to Bellfire, get a shot, y'all good.
7 days, no dairy
7
products.
days, right. So now this generation is so cavalier about it because they think, well, if I get it, I just go take a pill and keep rolling. This is the same thing that's kind of happening with this this whole idea of the COVID is that the ones who have not been affected by it or have seen it. I maybe can think of one time that I actually could say I probably had the flu. My mom's 87, the same thing. I never had a flu vaccine. But now, cancer survivor, I'm 69, and I'm in those categories. I work around children with super spreaders. And so I've got to think, and this virus is not the same as that flu virus, okay? And so, as Tracy told me one time when I told her, yeah, you know, you got to eat dirt before you get Dad. Dirt ain't the same as when you was a little kid. One of the things I share with you, the one reason why they cannot get a vaccine for HIV and not been able to get because it mutates too fast. That is the primary cause of why there's no vaccine for HIV. And most people know, I ask people, how many people died of AIDS?
And it hides. Don't forget it hides. Don't forget the HIV hides. It can hide in your brain and then come back out and flip and mutate and do all of that. Yeah.
All those different things. But the point I'm getting at is that, you know, our biggest problem is right now is separating, as we've been discussed, not just fact and fiction, but the different concepts. And, you know, it's, well, she's a doctor. Well, what kind of doctor is she? Oh, she's a gynecologist or other people. That don't make her a pathologist or a biologist. You know, I mean, do you realize why there are 2 different sciences? Well, they should know. Well, an engineer knows about engineering, but a mechanical engineer is not necessarily an electrical engineer, you know, but this is something we deal with in our society and in our culture in particular. So I think it behooves us to begin to work layer by layer. And it's going to take a generation or two in order to change our mind. So.
But you know, Dad, I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I think that the media played a big part in a lot of this misconception. And when this whole thing came out, I really wish that the government would have did a better job of explaining, like, one of the biggest misconceptions of the big lie that was first out was, oh, how are they going to create a vaccine in less than a year? Well, SARS and COVID are not brand new. This thing's been around
for 40 years.
I can remember when it first came out, they said, look on the back of the can of Lysol, and it had the coronavirus on it. This thing has been out. They've been working on vaccines. So I think if the government and the news would have explained that better to people, I think that would have guided some people a little differently.
Pat, you know what? Let me say this real quick too. But see, here's another thing. I try to put that in perspective. The people who are on these channels and on these media things, they didn't know either.
Yeah.
They didn't know. They were just as ignorant. And don't forget who was in charge of the country at that time.
But information's out there. They could have got it.
Well, and I want to touch on that, but I want that shine because I'm gonna try to come back to that because that's a great point, Pat. And then I want to get I guess to go further. And Six, I want you to, if there's anything or points, because again, you know.
Well, you know, like from the beginning, like I said, I'm one of the brothers that's on the podcast that haven't been vaccinated, and the brother, I'm gonna call him Dad because what I'm learning is whatever reason I had or whatever reason I do have for not getting the vaccination shot, my reasoning for getting the shot now is got to deal with my family and the people that I love. It's not about me.
What about the ones
whether I die or not? Is it worth the chance to save a life that could possibly bleed? Then that's the chance you should take. Because like I was saying at the beginning, also I was an active member with the Nation of Islam, and I love those brothers. And now I've stepped away from that. I'm still a member, but I'm not active anymore. But now it's got to do with the people that are around me and the people that I love and the people that are listening to me now. It doesn't hurt to change your mind. It doesn't mean that you're wrong or right. You're just taking a chance to stand up for what you believe in. Now, I'm not saying that I'm wrong or right because I'm getting the vaccine or not. It's just the fact of the matter is, okay, you did everything else in life that you shouldn't be here to this day. And we've all had that situation where we're like, man, I'm just blessed to be here. I'm just glad to see another day because I can remember when this should have happened. I shouldn't be living right now. So I'm saying to those that are listening to me right now, being educated right now, that's why I'm not saying anything because I'm one of the ones that was like, man, I ain't never took the flu shot. I'm fine. But I got asthma, I got diabetes, I'm overweight, I got a granddaughter, I got people that are around me that love me, and I can take a cold tablet or drink a beer, but I can't take a vaccination shot. So it's very hard for me, but I need a Snickers bar because I want to be the one on the podcast tonight that said, I ain't took it. Convince me to take it because this ain't for me. This is for the listeners. Go ahead, Brother Sean.
Yeah, so I like this dialogue, but I like the honesty that you just displayed by coming out and saying that you were no longer a practicing member of the Nation of Islam, but you still there, and there's nothing wrong with that because I've had conversations with brothers that were in the nation, that are in the nation, and that was sticking to the talking points that has been handed down, and some of the things that they talked about, and Brother Mark, you was trying to get me to talk about this earlier, was natural immunity. How natural immunity seemed to be the best way to attack this situation, to get over the hump. Let's everybody just run out and get infected, and we're going to be okay. Natural immunity has a price to pay. Natural immunity has claimed 713,000. That was as of yesterday. Lives in America alone, and almost 4.5 million people worldwide. And we're talking about people dying at 2,000 deaths a clip from, it's declining a little bit now because more people are getting vaccinated and things like that. We're starting to see a little bit of hope during this Delta surge, but you have at one time early in last month, let's just deal with last month because October is still fresh. It was 2,000 deaths a day from a preventable disease. We have a vaccine. So I don't want to get you, Dr. Hayes, when Dr. Hayes says that, you know, people are coming into the hospital, what she's not having people coming to the hospital no more being that are dying or going through this or doing that, is showing you that the actual vaccines work. So we need to understand as Black people, what are we really dealing with and what's going on in our minds? Because once upon a time, we didn't have a vaccination issue, right? We just now began to parrot the Robert F. Kennedys and Dale Bigtrees, who are grassrooting this whole anti-vaccine movement, who have been doing it since, quote unquote, the MMR vaccine is causing autism. The whole misconceptions that have plagued us from that point. So we've taken the identity of other people, right? And then we start to say, well, what are the long-term effects of the vaccine? What are the long-term effects of the virus, the disease that is spreading in your body and you have no control over? So the notion of natural immunity comes at a price to pay. You have long COVID, right? Long COVID can produce a variety of symptoms. Natural infection can produce over 203 symptoms in your body. This virus attacks all 10 organs. There's not a spot unturned. There's new things that are coming out every day that has to deal with SARS-CoV-2, which we need to understand that COVID-19 is the disease, SARS-CoV-2 is the virus. And we have to start there first. Our misconceptions about viruses and diseases is gone. It's the same thing with Tuskegee. We understood Tuskegee to be an experiment and we use it to argue all the time, but we don't know what the experiment was. It was for untreated syphilis. Yet we think that they gave them syphilis. So where is all the misinformation coming from? It's a pipeline of misinformation. So we have to guide the conversation. And I applaud both of you doctors that are on this panel that are in the fight. I applaud you. Why? Because first of all, you got to deal with these patients every day. And then you got to try to refute some of this misinformation. To tell the truth, neither one of y'all got the time for that. You're seeing people on ECMO machines. You're seeing people that are dropping out, coming in, falling out, passing out. You're seeing you're seeing this virus actually in play every day. So what I've done is in this journey, it started back in April of last year, way before the pandemic kicked off, was I just started over. I knew a lot about vaccines and stuff like that, but I wanted to know more because I wasn't getting vaccinated, but I wanted to know more. So what could I do to know more? I started with understanding what a virus is and how it operates, right? Then I went into the immune system, right? Then once I got into the immune system, then I transferred into how viruses affect us. And then I got into other things. So I kind of walked this path all the way through, and I demonstrate that also in my text. But I wanted to take the load off on doctors that are frontline in the fight to be an extra voice. So I can't say I did this alone. Brother Unc West was with me along the way. Several other people, a part of our research team, was along the way. I was throwing tons of information at them, but I realized that not everybody can keep up with the information because it's updating every day. And the closer we got to a vaccine, the more questions that needed to be answered. So I began to just kind of prepare myself to answer those questions. But back to the natural immunity thing, that's, I was hard on that because people thought that herbs can cause an immune response to a novel virus. And I'm like, herb is particularly a food. You can't use this to fight COVID. You're trying to treat symptoms and all of that. Oh, you've been infected. But by that time, you don't know how many other people that you are affecting. So when we slow this conversation all the way down, it's just one that just requires steps. And we just got to take baby steps and then meet people where they are. And then just ask some basic stuff. How much do you know about your immune system? Or what part of your immune system can an herb actually help strengthen. There's so much misinformation and misunderstanding that's going on. That's why I say I applaud both of y'all, because y'all don't have to take the time out to do this. You're too busy trying to save somebody's life. By the time they get to y'all, though, they talking about they want a vaccine. It's too late. It's too late. So,
Yeah. So,
What's up, Pat?
so anybody on this panel, I'm just wondering, we all know someone close to us, and of course we won't say no names, but we all know someone that's a family or friend that is against the vaccine. So my question is, are we speaking up? Because we had this as a conversation one time before. It was on a different subject, but we kind of debated back and forth when someone is a loved one or a family or a friend and they're doing something that's wrong or we feel is wrong or it can hurt them or hurt us, should we speak up? I say, just to start it out, that you should, especially if it's a loved one. My brother's on here now. I talk to him at least 3 days a week about getting the vaccine. True or false?
Yeah.
I talk to you, Brother Six.
Yeah.
And I talk to him at least 3 days a week. I say something. Sometimes I even do it subtly because, you know, some people you can't just run straight at them like a truck. So I might come at him and say, and it's a true story. A military buddy of ours was only 38 years old, just like your friend, Dr. Hayes. He got COVID on 1 week, and the very next week he died in his sleep. And so I brought that up to Brother Six, kind of casually, just to let him know, hey, you know, this thing is still real, and there's still people dying from this. So my question to any of you all is, are we saying something? Because we got to start with our inner circle. Are we saying something to our loved ones that are not vaccinated?
And Dr. Hayes, I want to, you know, all of you, but I want to just, you know, I want to make sure that we get you in. But I also wanted to piggyback on this as well with that question that Pat asked and to everyone.
We're gonna horse you back, brother. We're gonna horse you back. We ain't gonna pick you nothing.
Okay.
We're gonna horse you back.
It's fine. So, I got you. Islam, I got you. So,
Yes,
as Black people, and however you want to describe us, Black,
Walk.
Moors, whatever you want to, however we want to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Are we, you know, I coined this phrase, smart dummies.
Yeah.
Are we so woke that we sleep? Are we so tied in? And I think, Sean, you talked about this, that we've taken the mantle. We've been so against the man that we actually are taking arguments from the man that's anti who we are as a people. And I think you drew this out from the perspective of we are the science and math and all these things. This is what we come from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a natural, we got to this point because of certain things that we had to do. And it's almost like we champion wanted to know our history, want to know, but then when it don't fit the bill, we run away from it. And it goes against the rhetoric that we use actually is anti who we are. And yet we believe that to be that. So Dr. Hayes, anything that you want to share with us, you know, asking Pat's question about should we step up? How do we step up? What are some things that we need to know? You know, just let us know, please.
Yeah, so stepping up and sharing with our family, friends, our boys, our girls, sharing with our community the truth. I love what Dad Martin said about the anger and the fear and how that's a huge driver of a lot of these conspiracy theories. And then also, you know, I love what Brother Sean said, just in terms of, you know, breaking down, knowing, instead of taking a narrative and riding with it when talking about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, teaching about how it was the withholding of treatment that killed the men, not giving them treatment or giving them syphilis. And so when we talk about even our history and Mother Earth and our motherland, the continent of Africa, we come from science. Just like you said, we come from teaching and learning about, you know, chemistry and all these different things. I mean, you know, that's a whole specialty and study in and of itself. There are folks who have degrees in, you know, African history and, you know, the study and the beginning of science. And so, so seeing more, and that's one of the reasons as we talk about that, that's really why we need more Black educators. And, you know, we need Black men to be teachers and, you know, teach in the classroom and, you know, and even, I mean, platforms like this is a classroom as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I could take this conversation that we're having and post it in any, you know, Ivy League school anywhere in the country.
You'll have it on Sunday. You can do that.
Let's do that. Let's make sure.
When we edited it, yeah, I got it.
Make sure we do that. You know, and that's one thing about when we get together as a community, then we share our resources, right? So I've got, you know, I can roll from HBCU all the way to Harvard and Yale. I mean, I got people all the way on every.
Talk that talk.
You know, so yeah, one of my best friends is a psychiatrist, and she trained at Harvard. And she's, you know, Black. So she went to Spelman, and then she went on to Harvard to do her medical school and psychiatry residency. And you know, we've been talking a lot about this mindset, the mindset of our people, and what is happening, and how we are allowing, like, you know, Brother Sean said, how are we in the world are we allowing them to co-opt our brains to think these kind of crazy foolishness? It's just in our minds, in the scientific world, it's just as crazy as the January 6th insurrection when they were climbing up the walls and busting out the windows. It's just that bizarre in our minds.
Egregious, yeah.
It's the same. It's like it's just on a continuum. It's the same thing. And so in terms of, you know, sharing with our community and our churches and speaking more about, I mean, this is exactly what needs to happen. I mean, just, you know, bigger and just keep going and just, you know, I mean, you know, I'm just so grateful to hear about this group. I mean, this, you know, you all talking about this. I mean, I'm going to share it, you know, everywhere that I can. And so we just need to keep doing that. And, you know, that's part of our, again, one of the reasons that a lot of doctors, especially Black doctors, we've kind of stopped talking about it. Quite honestly, it's just been like devastating. I think we've all kind of been feeling like depression, some, you know, just sadness, just the loss, just the feeling of like, you know, man, how did somebody come in here and co-opt the cure and make it something crazy? Like, we're supposed to be out of this by now.
You know what? Hold on, Dad. I want to say this. Because I would say this. I think part of the issue, though, is the fact that, so I'm going to use your argument for a second, Dad, the other way. I think that for so long, there's a lot of mistrust for a lot of reasons. Yeah. And I think because there is no transparency and no honesty, this is what you get. You know how your parents should say, that's what you get. Mm-hmm. See, when you allow things to happen, and you allow this underbelly to grow without coming out and saying, you know what, we were wrong. Yeah. We should have done these things. We know these things happen. We know we've mistreated people. We know we've done these things and we are absolutely wrong and we want to right these wrongs. However, this right here, we can't play with this. Like, so I think that part of the thing is that because there is mistrust, rightfully so, mm-hmm. we still are not able to. It's kind of like, okay, there's a point. So I don't trust the government to get this vaccine, but I trust them to give me my water, mm-hmm. or to get my food at the grocery store, mm-hmm. yeah. or the cable that I use, mm-hmm. or the electric. I ain't met one person yet that got their own electrical grid. Or water source, right? Grow their own food and all that. If
the government really wanted to give us something, they could put it in water, they could put it in food.
They ain't have to wait on this.
Everyday medicine, we go right to the
Popeye's chicken sandwiches.
Buy a bottle of asprin, they can put it in aspirin.
Hold on. They ain't gotta put a chip in our body. We carry the chip around with us every day.
Right. But we bought into that new world order type of thing, and the whole this, that, and this, and it's like, okay. But wait a minute now. Some of y'all the same people that say that I self Lord and Master, but then we worried about somebody else doing something to us. The logic don't go together. It's like cognitive dissonance, and I'm trying to figure out. I don't even know because I'm watching people. It's like I'm either gonna retire, I'm gonna quit, I'm not doing this. With a man, and I'm like the vaccine. But if you got hurt right now, like in Kyrie, I love his game. I understand where he's going. Again, I'm not necessarily for people losing their job or whatever. You choose to make that choice. You do that, and I don't want to get on the mandate part. But I'm just wondering when he was hurting his ankles and all that, and he was getting those cortisone. He didn't ask, now where did y'all get that cortisone? Like, can I see the instructions on that? So you're getting all these other treatments, but the vaccine is where you draw the line at. And I ain't talking about the money situation, that's where we draw a line. I don't know what that is.
Brother Michael, this young lady I told you about, so her entire house, none of them were vaccinated. Daughter, she had 5 children, none of them were vaccinated. So now that she has died, everybody's going to get vaccinated. Sometimes this is a painful, like Brother Sean said, the cost is so, trying to develop, your developed immunity or acquired immunity, trying to get that, you got to get through COVID alive first. If you don't get through it alive, you're not only going to not have no immunity, you're going to be in the ground. Or what will happen to you? We cremate people nowadays, Black folks. Hey.
Let me say, if I may. First of all, son, Big Pat, I want to say this. An example of not speaking up forcefully enough can be very costly to your family, which can last forever.
I agree.
My brother was overweight, and he never wanted to wear a seatbelt. And I used to say, bro, man, you need to put that seatbelt on. He's like, I'll be all right. My brother was highly, highly religious and spiritual in terms of like destiny of whatever it was going to be. He was willing to accept the consequences, right? And so this went on for years until one day he was broadsided by a vehicle moving 80 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And because his seatbelt was not on, he died because he was ejected from the car right at 38th and Boulevard Hill.
Wow. Yeah, that's.
See, here's the ramifications to that. Now, for me, from a spiritual standpoint of view, I know my brother, he's all right. Mm-hmm. But the devastation that went through our family.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Brother Six, you said,
Yes, sir.
just like you talked about when you was at war. Until it happens to you,
Yeah.
okay, you cannot possibly grasp it. But here's how I think we have to approach this. One of the things I loved about criminal investigations is we took a lot of, which was one of my favorites because it really transformed into almost every form of discipline. And there's an old saying, whether it's actually true or not, that Sherlock Holmes used to say, once you eliminate everything that's not, whatever's left is what it is. Since we can go by and debunk almost every single argument that a person can put up to the point where they just sit there and it's crickets, right? Then what's left is what we talked about, Dr. Hayes, fear or anger. And I would say add defiance. And those are all emotional and psychological issues. For me, in all of my education, the bell curve is probably the most effective measurement of human behavior in almost every area. Okay? The bell curve system. You got your extreme on both ends, and then most people in the middle. Now watch this dynamic here. So in the past, that middle ground was really influenced by the extreme ends because our communication level was different. So yes, when I was a kid growing up, the information I was taught by PhDs in grade school. So I had that broadband knowledge brought right to me by the mouth. Also, you got us growing up listening to our parents at their feet and people like that. So it was effective because that was the major influence we had. The village, that's where the term the village came from. Now the village is as such because of social media.
Yeah.
Because somebody like on that streaming like Cardi B with 10 million followers, well, she said it. Now remember in the bell curve, in the middle, they're waiting for instructions. That's what, it's not a shame, it's not a problem, it's part of human nature. Look at the herd. You know, wherever herd runs, wherever it runs, they're gonna follow, just like with Jesus in the sky. So in the human race, we have to remember that 10% on either edge has always been the most influential. But the gap, the exposure to them, that's where the media problem became problematic. Because now, look at us. We're able to do something that, when I was coming up, you know what the biggest, there was always social media. The Indianapolis Recorder had a place there called Teen Talk. And it was one little column called Teen Talk. And back in the early 60s, 70s, see if I made it one time and all my life. And I don't even know what they said. Martin Gore, that's all I knew. I'm famous. Now, boom, millions of people can chime in on it.
Yeah.
That power is no different from when they first uncovered splitting the atom. One person said, man, we can make energy endless. Somebody else on that other end of the bell curve said, think of the bomb this would make.
Yeah.
And so we have to navigate somewhere in between there. Those people on the outline, we have to now approach it from the argument of from not self-centeredness, but to bring it back that feeling of responsibility to the village, that each one has a responsibility to the other, regardless of where they are on that bell curve.
And you know, it's funny you said that. I had invited a brother on here, a brother that I've known my whole life. He's younger than me, and he's grown up to be very influential, especially on social media. He has a big following. Back here in Louisville, he has these big, huge parties, and everybody comes. And I really, truly wanted to hear his reasoning. He is totally against the vaccine. And I wish he could have got on here. And the point that I want to make is that he goes on to social media at least 5 to 6 times a week and posts all this, you be the dummy, you be the fool, don't do this, don't. And I know he realizes how many people look up to him and follow him. So I really wish he would have been here, because I really wanted to hear, even though I know I might not be able to change his mind, but I wanted to hear what is it that's making you against this. And then you've got such a big following, because I'm also friends with some of the people he's friends with on social media. Now they've started doing it. So now it's just like snowballing.
The same thing that drives him is the same thing that drives Donald Trump. He found out that hatred and fear can bond people against common sense reason.
Well,
and so
go ahead. I'm sorry, Dan.
So
I
I'm
was going
saying
to say
that people buy into that power. See, I mean, like I said, think about it. That's why the term influencers. That's why they call them influencers.
Yeah.
Because they know
and
that.
it's true. And it's true, Dad, because he got put in Facebook jail over some posts about COVID. He came right back and put a screenshot once he got out of his little Facebook jail of them, you know, when they sent him a message saying he couldn't post no more, and said, see, they trying to silence me. Look what they doing.
Drove up his popularity.
So he used the fear, and he used the anger and all of that from being put in Facebook jail to grow. So I really, and as a smart brother, I really wished I could have talked to him tonight, because I really want to understand.
and hopefully we will. And Sean want to get in whatever as well. I think, you know, something that Dan said earlier was those, you know, the fear. What did you say? Fear, anger, and then you said defiance.
Now defiance.
I really think that defiance is that thing. I think that for many of us, and we grew up in that culture, you know, listening to the minister, and whomever else that we might have followed at one point in time through our, you know, for many and that came up my age and a little younger, older, that were, you know, as we would say, getting knowledge of self and going under these different schools of thoughts and these different books that were coming amongst and we were reading. I think that defiance is the thing that really, Pat, that is the one that I think is, because I think if we were to listen to the argument, we would say, well, that don't really, okay, I can prove, and you will get to a point where you're saying, oh, so it's the government, but then it's kind of like, but you own a platform, you use it, everything that you use,
the government
produce.
Yeah.
Everything that you use,
so by that,
yeah.
So by that comment, Thomas, are you saying that, and I'm speaking to myself, you know, to each his own. You know,
Yeah.
You
see, without getting that shot, you transform it.
Because this podcast is to start the conversation about certain things in the Black community, and we're doing a beautiful job at that. That's what this is for. And believe us, to our listeners, to each his own. We just hope that you're educated well enough to make a sound decision about you and your family.
That's true.
So are you saying that it's okay for that brother to have that large platform, but okay, that's how you feel, brother. Don't put that on anyone else. You know, let them make their decision.
And that's kind of what I would have. Of course, I wouldn't have wanted to belittle him, but I would have liked to want to at least persuade him that if with all these extra, I mean, we got some brilliant people on here tonight, and if they can't persuade you, then how about at least not putting it out on everybody else? Think about.
Yeah. So, Brother Six, so my thing is that the only problem with that is that when you're dealing with a public health pandemic, what you do affects everybody else. So some people listening to him, let me tell you, they're going to die. Somebody listening to him is going to get COVID and die. And guess what? So he probably won't even ever know who it is because they'll be dead. They won't be able to say, hey, y'all, I shouldn't have listened to him. I died. Unless they can get
call him out by name, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they may be able to call out their name, you know, some last words on their deathbed before they get intubated. But that's the problem when you got a public health pandemic is it's public. We all involved. We all together. You don't have your own, like you ain't got your own electric grid. You don't got your own earth. You don't have your own world. Unfortunately, we gotta live together. And so that's the problem, is that the consequences are devastating.
And you know, I feel my hat's off to you, Dr. Hayes, and you, Dad, because you know, there's people that are coming in that you all have to treat or see that refuse to get the vaccination, and they're putting all of you all at risk and other people at risk. And it's a tough thing. It really is. And I'm hoping that someone listening, we can get through to at least one person to maybe get through to somebody else. So I really appreciate you all coming on here.
Let me clarify this again so that we don't have to miss it. I've heard it a couple of times. I appreciate the thought, but I'm not an actual practicing physician. My experience has come through actual working in the field and some trainings that I've taken, but I'm not a physician, but I am qualified and certified through training, and I do training in HIV, and I do teach and everything. But I just want people to listen in. I'm not actually licensed. Now I play one on TV. I see a lot of doctors. If you want a chance, I'll try.
I think one of the other things, you know, for Six, and I can speak directly to my brother, because you know, since I came in the world, you know, Six was 2 doors down, Pat was across the street. So these are my big brothers. These are my they not even really like my brother. This is family. I think the reason why we touch on this, and Six, you also had gotten, and you also had talked about how sick you were, or whatever, is that, you know, we lost our brother not too long ago, and we know things happen, and this was something totally different. But we never expected our collective group to not be here. We thought we were going to be shooting jokes at each other at 80 and 90 years old. You see what I'm saying? And when our brother left, a part of the a part of us all left with that. You know what I'm saying? That we not gonna never get back, but we keep them alive every time we shout them out here. So we understand that concept. But as Pat said, I love you too much, and I love your family too much because I know. Come on, man, Miss Peggy, your mom. She's like my mom. You know what I'm saying?
Vaccinated.
My mom ain't that. You see what I'm saying?
Vaccinated.
You know, but my point is, we
gotta be careful what we say too, Six, because we live together. So if y'all don't know this, we actually lived in the same house and run a food truck. And it didn't dawn on me until tonight. You said something. You said that you're gonna go ahead and think about your grandbaby and all that. But what does that say about me? You live with me and won't get it.
No, I'm at you.
You just said your grandbaby, you gonna go ahead and get it. You're in the house with me. That's telling me you don't care about me and my wife.
No. When you go back and listen to it, dear brother, you'll hear the facts. I put you first. Because
They say rewind.
Right. Yeah, we're on replay on that.
Before we run out of time, and I'm gonna lateral ball to
to
Sean. I want to lateral ball to Sean because I know we both have talked, and Son, and you and I have talked about this. But there's one thing I want to bring up, and I want to mention, and I think this is really important. We talk about misinformation influence.
Yes, sir.
So my personal religious persuasion is I'm a Christian. Okay, respect all forms of theology. It's their right to accept God however they see it. Okay, I don't see it in terms of color. I see it in terms of spirituality. I do refer, I read the Quran, I discuss, I've got all types of books, I look at all the enlightenment, but there's one thing I want to speak on, is that our community has used theology and religion and appropriated the words in a way that has been so detrimental. I'm not even going to talk about when it comes down to what we believe as for spirituality. But I'm a case in point. My best friend, God has me. I heard so many people, listen, it's going to be what it's going to be. God, so his wife went on a ventilator. Almost died. Came back. What happened? Couldn't get an answer. It got him, and it attacked every joint in his body. You know how the doc said it can attack so many different organs, so many different ways. And like I explained to him, here's my argument. If you're going to use any type of religious concept or thought as an argument and a basis, you must keep in mind this. Now you're tied into the emotions of people, many times of people who are not really knowledgeable about faith, about science and so forth. So when you use that platform and you misuse it, because see, I could go line by line in the Bible and show you where, from that standpoint of view, from food to medicine, everything, without going to religion, Jesus told somebody to seek medical help. What are you saying? But you tell them, and one guy ended up and said, well, if I get COVID, I'm going to call you to tell you was right. I'm like, that's when you need to call Jesus. Don't call me. COVID, I can't do nothing for you.
No, you better call Dr. Hayes.
That's what you better call.
Don't even call me, right? But the thing I'm getting at is, Sean, you can speak
I've had to talk to somebody through a window.
Historically, how we have distorted and misrepresented our own belief system to the point, and I'm not talking about whether someone chooses Islam or Christianity or Hindu or Buddhism or whatever. I'm talking about just at the core of common sense when people start talking about people's health and people's well-being and their responsibility to their fellow human being. This is really egregious, and this is something that we don't have time to go into, but I would dare say that one of the biggest driving factors in the Black community is the misunderstanding repetition. So when we start talking about platforms, that pulpit is huge.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, I just wanted to real quick So we got another guest that came on. So, brother, and again, I've never, which is funny, I've never met this brother, but I done seen him on so many different platforms, from Moore's World TV to Sinetta to whatever. I've watched the brother many times in some debates and just different things. I know he's out of Baltimore. I know Sean, you talked about, and y'all part of the same clan or different things. And typically we normally do an hour as we record, and this will probably be a little longer than we normally do. We edit it out, we put it out on Sunday, and we'll probably end up doing like a part 2 or somewhere down the line, because I think that what we really want to do is we want to talk to the people and really understand those that are feeling one day, because we love them and they are people, they are brothers, our sisters. We want to be able to talk to them, hear them, but then also be able to point for point hit those ways. So where Dr. Hayes from, and I'm sure, you know, before she was a doctor, she was somewhere else. She was, you know, and she could probably articulate some points, but sometimes when you can't, a Sean or Aunt or a Pat or Brother Six or Dad, you can hit a point that maybe the doctor may not be able to hit and tie it in and say, okay, yeah, I know where you're going with that, and I did the research on that. Yes, ma'am.
Anybody on here know about the west side of Chicago? I just want to know.
Yes, ma'am.
Already know.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah,
the west side of Chicago. So
Okay.
I just wanted, because we all introduced ourselves.
West side, south side,
Brother
east
Six,
side,
Brother
north
Pat.
side. Yes,
We,
ma'am.
Back Alley Father podcast. Like I said, my dad over here, Dr. Hayes, is a soror for my wife. Sean, I only followed through Facebook, but he was gracious enough to come on, and he asked if you can come on, and with little time we got, I wanted to allow you to come in and chime in. We talk about the vaccine and how we can help people, and I watched you, so definitely honor and appreciate you coming on as well.
Well,
Yeah, man. I'd like to say good evening to the panel, man. To the listening audience, man, get the book What SARS-CoV-2 Taught Me, authored by Brother Sean. And I think the conversation for me is that we like to go between. So you got doctors, okay, they put in that work, and it's our job to direct our people, to the experts. Somebody somewhere has said that the experts don't know what they're talking about. Okay, so how do we deal with that? When was it that Black people started to hate experts? Right? And when was it that Black people made white people on par with God? When did that occur? When did we give them more power and more just due than they ever had in their life? So that's really the conversation. Now everybody want to be conscious, everybody want to be woke, and everybody wants to be an expert based off of YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok, right? No discipline. So when I see the doctor right there, that shows me she has discipline, right? She has earned the right to hold a conversation on said subjects she's studied. She's an expert in her field. When do we lose that? When did education, become the white man's? When did that happen? Like, when did science become an invention of white people? When did that happen? This is not a white person conversation. I'm simply forming it how our people looking at it now. Tuskegee experiment. Wait a minute. That wasn't even sophisticated. Just get a couple Black people who don't understand something, and just don't treat them. That doesn't take a level of sophistication.
right.
Right, okay? So
Right.
you've given them too much credit, right? As for the spirituality piece, watch this. It ain't even that. You can have any what you want. Where we're lagging at is scientific literacy.
Yeah.
The ability to listen to an expert and say, dang, she's an expert. Scientific literacy will allow you to see an expert from a person that's trying to act like an expert, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook personality.
Well,
But for us, scientific literacy is crucial and essential. So I'm a science advocate. I advocate science, and I advocate our people listening to the experts, but not just listening to the experts, hearing what they're saying and having the ability to process what they're saying. That's what we lack. All the gods and goddesses we want, Christian, Muslim, Islam, Judaism, a new age, spirituality, aliens, we got all that. What we don't have abundance of is scientific literacy. So I just wanted to put that message out there. And I don't want to hold y'all, but I just want to make that point crystal clear.
Thank you, brother. That's right. Peace,
No,
bro.
and again, like I
That was
said, I've checked you out, so definitely an honor. You know, I know my brother Big Pac is what, about 5-6 months away from his PhD as well.
I'm just starting my my dissertation now, so it's gonna be it's different. It depends on how quickly the committee sends my stuff back and how quickly I get it in. But I'm just starting my dissertation now.
Yeah.
My hats off to Dr. Hayes. If y'all don't know, this is the hardest thing I ever did in my life. And
It's supposed to be.
So
Yes, sir.
And so I think, as the listeners, and like I said, we slice it. I get my son to edit, put his little beginning to end on it, and we typically try to box this up. But really what we're trying to do, and we don't have a lot of followers right now, and we're trying to grow that. But we're not here to really do the sensationalism. We ain't gonna throw a person's name out and then talk about them and try to bring it. That ain't
Not
what
gonna
we're
do
here to do.
We're not
We're here to
belittling
talk
no
just
one.
real conversation like we would if we were on the porch with one another and say, listen, something right. I done studied, I done read a lot of the books that people, I know the names of many of the people, but as Brother Ak has said, like, when did we get to the point where believing in science and understanding science and looking at the people that put in the work, when did we say that the brother and sister that put in the work to get the education, we'll listen to somebody that probably just came out of jail and they ain't got a high school diploma, you know what I'm saying? And ain't nothing wrong with that. But we would listen to them and carry them because they more charismatic than someone that went to school to do that. And it's almost like,
Or seen it.
it's like it's the white. I'm like, when do we get, like, as I said, when did we give that to somebody else? When did that become
Science
not
comes
us?
from the Mother Earth. Science comes from Africa.
Science, mathematics.
One of the things though I want to add too is that as I said, I work with high school seniors that are on the autistic spectrum, and so that means we have some very high functioning individuals. And I have shared this with our other staff, and that is they want to always box people in under labels. But there's one thing I learned early on: critical thinking is not something that you have to have a degree or a lot of outside influence to do. I mean, we can find critical thought in amoeba, okay? I mean, it literally understands 3 basic concepts. Don't get smashed, eat some, and hope you can make some more before all those things happen. That's critical thinking, okay? I mean, basically, I think that we're sometimes, and I mentioned about the bell curve. So we got to look at the group dynamics of this. You've got all these different powerful influences. You've got the pulpit, you've got the politics, you got all these constructs around the individual today in the year 2020. And we got to acknowledge and understand that I was with a young man today, 17 years old. I could not believe the intelligence of this young man in just deciphering and just explaining his whole paradigm, just like how everything came together for him. In school, he's considered to be a troublemaker. Nobody ever sit down with the first thing, ask their parents. You don't know that. But what we have to do, we here now, have to also keep in mind that in that bell curve, those people in the middle, even when we show them the science, see, we're able to understand a lot of science because we have prerequisites of other disciplines and vocabularies that help bring it together. They don't just throw you into quantum physics. You don't just go into immunology without getting some understanding about biology. So we have the advantage of being people who study and people think. The average person, and I'm not trying to say this has to be flexible, because some people, even in the middle, for whatever reason, they can still do critical thinking. But we have to consider that when we start talking about our culture as a whole, our culture has been injured. Psychologically, we have been injured. We acknowledge that. But as I do with these young people, I don't always start too high on the totem pole and get down and like someone mentioned earlier, we have to step by step bring them up to the knowledge of the truth. You can't start talking about, hepatology to someone who don't even understand basic biology, don't even understand what a virus is. They don't get it. Just like you can't talk to somebody about the Bible, they don't even believe in God. You can't talk to them about anything. You gotta start where they're at. You gotta start where they're at. So I think that to that point, I think is important. And I just wanted to mention, just like Malcolm X said, free your mind, behind the power. What is keeping us in prison? A lot of times, some of our own devices that we construct because we're afraid to come out. We're afraid. Like Harriet Tubman said, we're afraid.
Yeah, and I think, as we go around, and I think, I gotta ask my brothers if we gon', then because the street lights might be coming on, and we'll talk about that.
Part two.
We definitely invite that. I know that Dr. Hayes.
But let me say this real quick, Mike.
Go ahead, please. Hey, make sure y'all put y'all information in the chat, and if y'all can send me, Sean, if you on Messenger, if you want to give and Dr. Hayes, if you want to send my wife that information, because what we want to do is, when we record it, I want to make sure that in our what's the word I'm looking for? As we put our narrative underline it, I want to give links that people can go to everyone. And before I send it out or put it on YouTube, because right now we haven't. My son is still putting that information out so we can get on the platforms like SoundCloud, Apple. Right now we're just visually on YouTube. Sean, I'll send it to you. Dr. Hayes, I'll try to get your information and get it to you. Brother Sean can get it to you to make sure that you have it as well. And I will send it to you. And we just want to share it to whomever, because we just want to make sure that we spark the conversation and at least allow people to go. But with that, Pat, what was you about to say?
I was just going to say, Brother Sean, Dad already knows, and Dr. Hayes, tonight we're speaking about the vaccine, but we try to talk about topics that are needed in the community. And I want to give you all an open invitation. Even if one of us don't call you or send you, if you want to pop on, we usually do this on Tuesdays, starting at 8 o'clock. If you want to pop in and join, you're more than welcome. We always will welcome you and enjoy you participating. And Brother Sean, send me your link and stuff, because I'm gonna get some of them books, my man.
I put it in the Zoom. I put it in the Zoom chat, but I also send it to Mike. So.
Please do, brother.
Yeah, the link is if you pull up the chat in the Zoom, it's right there in the screen.
So typically, we have this thing because we have to do a part 2 for this, and we'll definitely make sure that we invite you all in and get you in. One of the things that we typically do as we close out is we do Big Pat, Brother Six. Y'all can kind of talk about when them lights start to flicker, our steps get quicker, and what that actually means for us. So if you can explain what that means to us.
As a brother being 51 years young, when we were coming up as young people on 23rd Street, 23rd and Maple Broadway, we would be two blocks, the next neighborhood, wherever we was.
Old school.
In Louisville, the street lights would flicker, because that was the sign that night is coming. So when you seen those lights flicker, if you did not meet those lights coming on all the way and on your porch, fully reporting, your behind was a little warmed up because you missed.
Hey, I can remember stopping mid-6, right in the middle of a city. We on the corner, old school, singing, rapping. The lights flicker. There's no understanding. Everybody just scattered.
And you had to ask permission.
The lights start flickering.
Yeah.
The lights start flickering. You left your bike, your robe,
everything. And you had to ask permission to go get my bike. They be like, you left your bike? So you You should have been home earlier. So yeah, that's
Right.
how we get down. So what we want to do is we'll go around the circle and allow everyone to close out, give the closing remarks, and then we'll close it out. But again, we thank y'all so much for joining. And I know Brother Aunt came on it late, but
Brother
we
Aunt,
definitely appreciate
Brother
him.
Sean,
Everyone.
Dr. Hayes, Pops, amen. Love you all. Please come back anytime you want. We're gonna have a part 2, so that's just automatic. So I'll go ahead. I'll start it.
Okay.
To our listeners, I just want to thank you all for listening in, and of course, tell somebody to tell somebody. It's been a pleasure and an honor to be on here with you all. And I want to say this to my brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam. I love you. And what I have to say is in much respect to my brothers and sisters here in Louisville, and to my brothers and sisters that's listening to me that know me personally. I love you all. And like I said, it's just an open discussion on hoping you discuss it with you and your families and your loved ones. Look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, what do they have to say? Maybe I should mention this, and maybe it's something to talk about. We hope that it does. And I'm just going to end with saying that, man, I love you all, and I'm waiting to hear more about what you all got to educate us on, because this is where it starts. It starts about the education of this vaccine and the life and death about this COVID that we're going through at this time. Thank you.
All right, Brother Ak, let me get Pat, because I want to do the cap. So, Brother Ak, if you got any closing remarks, and then I go to Sean, then Dad, and then we're gonna let Dr. Hayes do it, and then Pat, you rock it on out as well. So, Brother Ak.
Thank you for allowing me on this esteemed panel. I appreciate it, and just to let everybody know, I can waddle with bums and dine with kings, because I'm a name caller. I'm gonna say it right now. I'm a name caller. Okay, if you're practicing treason against our community in the middle of a pandemic, I'm gonna call your name out, and I do that because this is what civilizations and cultures do. They protect themselves against the charlatans, right? So science, okay, scientific literacy is a vaccine to protect you against the charlatans. So that's my job. That's not your job. See, the doctors can't do that. You got those professional careers. You can't get that. See, I can dive in the mud and wash up real well and throw in the suit. Right? I'm fine with that. I'm the name caller. Right? Of course I wouldn't do it on your show. But there are organizations that claim to be dedicated to Black people over the last 70 years or so, right? That actually are giving out pamphlets of misinformation that could potentially kill our family. Right? So watch this. Common sense is an enemy to science. I'm going to slow it down for you. Common sense is an enemy to science. So everybody think they got common sense, or it seems like if I eat the elderberries, the vegetables, and the herbs, it's going to do this. Nope. Listen to the experts. Common sense is an enemy to science. And I just want to close with that, man. Hopefully we can come back and do this thing. Appreciate y'all allowing me on there, man.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Come back,
Brother
here, brother.
Sean. Brother Sean, I
Yes,
like
sir.
that. What you say, real quick, you say, I waddle in the mud, but I dine with kids.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna cite you 3 times, and after that, I'm claiming for self. But I'm gonna cite you 3 times, and after that, they gonna be, where you get that bike? Hey man, I picked that one out. You done said something. No, I appreciate you, brother.
Now you
I say that, right?
major sources.
I say that because a lot of times people see me acting crazy. I act crazy because I'm dealing with the crazy. When you crazy, when you with the crazy, you act crazy. When you in the same panel, then you act that way. I just want to let you know how diverse we can
Say
act.
less. Say less. I followed you. I know some of the platforms you've been on, so say less. I got you. Brother Sean, please.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, I thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be invited, especially in spaces I haven't been before, and then to be a part of a panel with such a same host and guest that you also have on the panel, and it's always a privilege, especially when I'm able to be a part of a conversation with any doctors. You know what I mean, and be able to
Yes, sir.
speak from my perspective and then sit back and be a student at the same time. I think that's always good. And I try to use all of those opportunities is teaching moments for me to help me advance as a researcher, as a student, and just as a better parent and a friend to my family and friends. So I think that when you put this out, I think that it'll be very useful for anyone who is hesitant to really sit back and start questioning some of the things that are making them hesitant. And our job is to answer those questions in an astute manner where we can. Remember, we can't nag the doctors. They're in a fight. They're trying to save lives. But some of us have a little bit of command of the information where we can help you make an informed decision based on the data. The science is what we're following. It's not our prerogative. We're not going to be the doctors now. Ultimately, we're going to get you to the experts. But if we can take the weight off the experts and just give you some things that you could use to move you forward, then that's what we're going to continue to do. Because like Unc said, like your father said, Mike, we're all science advocates, and we're going to listen to the data, and we're not going to listen to the chirpers or the naysayers. So I know Unc shouted my book out. I mentioned it earlier before, but I actually dedicated a chapter to the Dirty Dozen, where 66% of misinformation comes from those 12 people. And they're in there. But what's more importantly is that the fact that some of their claims are in the book. So the magnet on the arm, the going robotic, and Ted Pitney's, Northropes, all of those people whose names most people don't know, they're in there, and a lot of their claims surface from them. But another key point here is the fact that these people have an alternative. They're making millions of dollars, but they want to light on vaccine companies and the dollars that's invested in bringing their technology forward. We should be thankful that we're in a new generation or a new era of technology instead of Stone Age technology that was used originally at what we call inoculations. And then, phase 2 or stage 2 technology, which would be, a live virus and trying to weaken it and do all of those things and, just progressing forward. So we have to credit technology and science for working together to bring forth the science that's actually been, studied for over 25 plus years. We could say 30 years now. Most people don't even realize that they've been in the works for that long. They think it just came out last year and then all of a sudden they got a vaccine for it. No, it took a lot of understanding and research and all of that. That's in the book as well. But I appreciate it again, man. I anytime you want me back, I'm here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Dad, if you want to, got any closing remarks?
Well, again, I just want to start out by saying that, you guys cannot imagine, and I know I may be not that much older, but I'm old enough to be most of y'all's parents. But I say that to say that I had to embrace what God has given me, and that is 70 years of looking at it. My brother used to tell me when I used to say, man, you're only 3 years older than me. He said, yeah, but can you imagine how much I saw in the 3 years before you got here? I had to acknowledge that, dude, how much more do I know now than I knew even last month, even before this conversation started? But what I have to also understand is that it's not about me being right or wrong, as we said earlier. It's about enlightenment. And I think of debate as an academic exercise, okay? Not banter, but being able to enlighten. I seek to be enlightened. And I just want to share one thing, if I don't leave anything with everybody on this panel. I am so proud to see my people so astute and so thoughtful. When I was bullied because I was a nerd. I was in the book, man. I wasn't outside. I was reading and watching Star Trek and designing spaceships and everything. I'm talking about back in the 50s, dude, in the early 60s. To see you now bring this forward, all I can say to you and the listeners, man, I am so optimistic about our future. Sometimes it's hard to see the whole picture when you're still in the frame. And right now, you guys are in the frame of change. And I'm standing back. I'm ready to pass the mantle. I told my son, y'all can have it. I put up the good fight. I marched in Chicago. I marched down south. now that you guys turned, and I'm so proud of them, I just want to encourage you to continue to not only have dialogue, but continue to study, man. I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed. And son knows I'm usually sleep by 7:30. I get at 4 a.m. and start studying every morning. And so you guys, everybody in Doctor, wow, thank you. See a sister in here, Sean.
It's beautiful.
My man, I love your passion. Oh my God. Whoa, you know, I'm gonna call you up when I need some backup. I'm like, hold on, put you on speakerphone, take over, you know. And you know, my 3 sons, you know, I love y'all and thanks for letting Pop be part.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
know, I always, before I turn it over to Dr. Hayes and then Pat, I always think about when jokingly when somebody says, you know, I'm trying to get enlightened. I always think about Fred Sanford when Lamont said, and he said, man, I'm trying to enlighten you. He said, I won't get no lighter. So I always think about that jokingly. Dr. Hayes, you want to close out with anything?
Thank you all so much. I see it's a couple things I'm gonna have to do. We're gonna have to drop some applications down here to medical school and grad school and all kind of doctor
Yes,
school.
ma'am.
You all are dropping the knowledge. I am telling you, this is one of the most refreshing God-sent conversations and interactions I have had outside of clinical, and of course talking with media family and close friends. It's just really I'm just in awe of all of you all, and this work that you're doing is so important. And as a Black woman, I want you all to know I honor you, each of you, for being strong and being honest and being open. I appreciate you. I appreciate you on behalf of all my sisters, all the sisters around the world. I just want to represent and say thank you. I want to say that also y'all gonna have to come up with a schedule, because by the time this blows up, y'all gonna have to, I don't know, y'all need an agent. Y'all gonna have to get an agent or something and get your schedules right or something.
We hope to push this forward because again, and I don't want to cut your wisdom, but I've watched Sean interact on Facebook, and boy, they be going at him sometimes, and it be funny. And sometimes I want to type, and I'll be like, man, I ain't got time to type all this stuff out. I don't want nobody coming at me. And then I've actually watched on a number of different platforms, people that I respect, and they've had their conflict, but I get where he's coming from, and I understand and unfortunately, sometimes these people are so charismatic that people follow the charisma and not necessarily the information or the knowledge that they're given, and that leads a lot of people astray. And unfortunately, we got to try to bring that back, because for some reason, and again, eating good and healthy ain't nothing wrong with that, but just as African is science, is mathematics, is Brother Ankh said, scientific literacy. That's equally and more important, and that's who we are. I came up with another topic, the chronology of the African mind. That might be something to try to lay out, how we started, so that these same groups of people that be like, the Black man, we do this, and the white man be like, well, wait a minute, you crediting these things to somebody else, and we actually are the originators. We discovered we did these things, so let's break this down so that you can't use that argument. And then I took this argument from you, so then as Dad said, what's left is this. But I go back, Dr. Hayes, please continue. I apologize.
Oh, no. I mean, everything you said, everything is we just have to, all of the different parts of our community, everything that, makes us strong as a community, as we, come together. We have the millennial conversation. We have conversation with whatever the generation is after the millennials, having a conversation, talk to the folks in our nursing homes, talk to the people on our college campuses. Do y'all know the numbers? And this is who my numbers, somebody said I'm a numbers person, statistics guy. There are still nursing home workers who are refusing to get vaccinated. There's still nursing home vulnerable nursing home patients who are contracting COVID from people who are assigned to take care of them.
Yeah.
And so all these different spaces, there's room for us to educate and influence in the right way with proper information and education and truth. And I just thank you all tonight for bringing the truth, and I'm looking forward to part 2, and I hope I'm invited. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Most definitely.
Open invitation, and you will be invited. Big Pat, my brother, what you got for us?
I want to close with, first of all, thank everybody for being here. I want to say I love all my brothers and sisters. There's always stigmas out here about Black men, and we don't say we love each other. So I want to be one of the first to say I love you, brothers. And I'm going to start watching you, Brother Ankh, and you, Brother Sean. Mike, send me those links.
Yes, sir.
Secondly, I want to tell you all, I am a doctoral candidate right now, student, and y'all motivated me tonight already, because I believe that you have to have a healthy balance of book knowledge and talking to people, healthy conversations. I've learned more tonight than I've studied in the last couple of weeks, but I will be on the books tonight. It's a lot, as Dr. Hayden, it's a lot of research and a lot of writing. So I'm up every morning, reading, writing, research, and I appreciate you all. You're welcome back at any time. And I love you all. That's all I got, Mike.
Well, so the reason why we say that, we throw out that love is because typically, in mentoring young people a lot, I've always found it curious that we ask young people to do something that we don't show them. And then we expect them to do something without giving them that thing. So my brothers up top, they know how I feel. We go back, we go back. I love them brothers, my dad. And so anytime you come into this fold, and I know, and I can tell from your conversation and the passion and the authenticity that you share, I know that you coming from a place of truth. You may not always have we always can learn more. We can always, we might always misspeak. We might, there's new data that comes out. But if you're coming from a place that you can say, you know what, I got that wrong, but here we go. See, I can appreciate that. That's what I love, and I love brilliant minds, and thank you all. Dad, you always gonna come on because you gonna come on. Look at him, he got the Star Trek name. Dr. Hayes, thank you so very much for just coming on at the last minute, Sean, for even just reaching out. I mean, for just accepting and doing that on the strength, and then being able to reach out to Brother Ankh. And Ankh, I know your schedule. I know what you do. Well, I don't know what you do, but I see and everything like that. For you to come on and bring on, salute. Definitely appreciate you so much. And Sean, we'll be getting a book, and then when my brother Pat, when his book comes out, what is it? The pandemic.
Hold on,
Yeah, go ahead.
I gotta get that, Pat.
That's coming out too.
Yeah.
It's defeating the internal pandemic. It's basically talking about self-love, self-improvement, and dealing with stress. I'm a certified life coach and career coach. So it's teaching individuals how to deal with the stress of life and self-improvement. So that'll be coming soon. I keep forgetting to plug that.
I gotta plug my book. I gotta plug mine.
Go ahead, bro.
Okay.
Y'all know, well, my son knows I do a morning ministry every day. I reach probably anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 people per day. My ministry is called Eternal Now Ministries. My book is coming out, The Eternal Now, A Moment That Never Ends. I'm looking forward to be out this Christmas. I'm working on it, and I'm mixing spirituality, science. I'm showing. I want to show you how they all get together.
Hey, I want a signed copy, Dad. Just let me know where to get it.
Yeah, we all do.
And Sean, I gotta get your books. We all going today, but anyway.
We're looking at.
Yeah, and
go ahead,
definitely. And I was gonna say that what you got, those yours too? The chronology of the human evolution?
Yeah, chronology of human evolution. Just a basic way to tap into evolution, right? So just about 25 pages, but you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to catch the people, right?
Yeah.
Basic.
Yeah.
We need those,
make sure, yeah, we get that, Sean. Make sure
Make
I'll
sure
figure out a way
we
that we can
get
connect and we get that, and we'll definitely plug that and put that in. So I appreciate it. I can tell y'all this. Well, I was doing something for my daughter because she's trying to do something at this thing. So Pat and Six know I'm a big poetry person, and so I've kind of started back writing. So I'm gonna put that together. My son actually does some, so I'm thinking about maybe us doing that. But I can't tell y'all this. For Brother Pat's book, it's his brother that did the foreword. Ooh, it's cold. It's cold. If you don't do nothing but get the foreword, you want to check it out. Because who's doing the foreword, Pat?
You are, brother.
Okay. That brother cold when he writes though sometimes. But I'm just saying. So appreciate y'all so much. Typically, like I said, we do an hour, but I felt like this was going to go, and this was just natural. And so when we had that part 2, y'all invited. Don't even say we invited. Y'all all invited. We'll send it out. And when we have anything else, like you said, we record Tuesdays at 8 p.m. If you drop in about 8:10, we'll let you in, and we just tell you what we're talking about. If y'all want to get in, y'all more than welcome. This is an open forum. This is like when we on the porch. This is all this is. It's the back alley fellas.
That's right.
I had to give you the lesson of the back alley fellas and what that's all about. But at the end of the day, that's what we are. We sitting on the porch and we chopping it up and we trying to give it to the people. What you're saying, we trying to give it to the people so that they can get it. They can have that open conversation, have some open, honest conversation, and then we be able to, if once they trust us, and say, okay, these brothers are okay. Then we can lead them to those experts, as you said. We can get them to those people, and so they ready. They ready for that. So appreciate it for the first time, last time. Listeners, hey, sucks to be you if you're a last time listener. You want to tune in, you want to stay with us. For those that continue to grow, we appreciate you. As we say, tell a friend, another friend to join into this beautiful mosaic that we call Back Alley Fella Podcast. And I'm going to end it with this. Pat, should I do it?
Yeah, go ahead and give it to him. Everybody on here used to look at Mr. Rogers. Go ahead,
I used to listen to Eddie Murphy on Step Down Live, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. So we do it like this. The time is now, and the week is new. And we'll have more podcasts for you. And you'll have things you want to talk about. We will too. See you later.
Peace out, everybody.
Recording stop. Take it easy.
Hey, appreciate y'all. I'll make sure that we get that information from everybody. I want to try to get it before Sunday so that I can put the links in that people can, when they tune in to us, they can go and get you, Dr. Hayes, whatever information that you have, whether what you got, what books, whatever you wanted. That Sean the same way, Dad, all of that. We want to bring that to them, and we appreciate y'all, man. We really honestly appreciate that. We feel like we made it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We actually made it now, because we got we doing it. I'm gonna do my George Jefferson walk in a little bit. So, thank y'all for taking out the time. What's up, Pat?
Hey, Dr. Hayes, I want to tell you, I was a little discouraged at first. I almost quit. They can be a little rough. I asked a question. Doctor told me, well, you shouldn't be asking that. You shouldn't be in this class if you asked that question. I had to call a professor, a friend of mine, and say, hey, are they this rough? But I got scuffed up. I put some Band-Aids on, and I'm in the fight now.
That's it. You ready to fight? We need you. We need you out there.
And Six and Pat, and that because I know I'm in the I direct message. I know Sean always sends me information.
Send us that, Mike.
I know y'all do some heavy. Y'all be doing some long hour joints where y'all go at it, but I make sure that when we get them. Now I know y'all go in, but you got that energy. You definitely one of them fighters that go in there. So I appreciate you.
That's right.
But I will make sure that we share that because it's not about we're not competing with nobody. Right. It's enough room for all of us. We try to elevate everybody so that we can get that information out because you might be able to touch somebody that I can't touch, that I can't even relate to. But as long as they get that information, as long as we're growing, that's the thing. And so I'm about to sign out. I don't want to hang up on nobody, because we do that old school. You hang up. No, you hang up. You hang up.
Hey, I'm the head of
See y'all next time.
Right.
All right now. Y'all be good now.
All right now.
Peace. Peace.
All right, so let me stop sharing my screen for a second. That was a beautiful dialogue. As always, man, when I get an opportunity to be on a panel with any doctor, right? When I emailed you the link, dude. I'm live. Because you asked me and I told you I was. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm live, so you can come join. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so I'm finna come on here and then I'm gonna explain it so I don't have to explain it again. So yeah, me and a brother Facebook friends. His name is Mike D. Good brother. You know, I send him information and stuff like that. He sent me his YouTube videos when they go live and I watch them. He do uploads. He don't necessarily be live. So you know, his channel. I'm gonna pull it up for y'all. Just to give him some love. I'm gonna pull it up. Give me a second here. And your boy still ain't here. And the doctor already didn't like one of my posts too, by the way. See the one on my Facebook and hit the like button. That's what's up, doc. But show y'all his from West Africa, later than the mud. But this is channel right here, the Back Alley Fellas podcast. You know what I'm saying? He got 800. He got more subscribers than me. You know what I'm saying? Back Alley. Anyone interested in subscribing to the channel, see what the build is about or what the future builds will be about. You know what I mean? Get into it. You know, they have a nice little time, a little conversation and things like that. A little different vibe and a different flow. Remember, they not like us. I'm on a Mossy, so you don't see my subscription there because I ain't on the right profile, but that's done. However, the brother hit me up a few days ago. He hit me up, and I'm gonna give you some of the words. He was like, "Where it go?" He says, "Hey, our podcast will be doing a segment this Tuesday on the vaccine, and we're trying to get both sides to really see how we can understand the reason people are against." And then he asked me, would I be willing to join? And I asked him what time, because, you know, I'm working. I'm still working right now. I got like 16 minutes. And he was like, told me what time it would be. He told me what time to hop on. And I told him, okay, cool. You know, I'll do it. I'll buck the system. And then I gave him a little bit about the bio or whatnot. And he was like, he said, that's what they need me to bring as far as the topic of the conversation. Send me the link. Sat on the link and then told me that he'll be recording it tomorrow and he's going to release the video on Sunday. So on Sunday, we're going to have the edited version of the particular video. I'm going to try to get the edited version downloaded or whatever. I'm just going to share it. I'm not going to download it. I'm going to share it and people can actually review the edited version of it, the clean version of it, and build with that. The reason that I'm saying that is because what I'm getting ready to do is probably going to extend this video out just a little bit because of a topic that I want to teach. Well, not teach. I want to talk about. And but it's always good with building with, you know, people that are unfamiliar with unfamiliar with you, and you're unfamiliar with them. But he knows that I'm in that fight because there's some posts. I think he's commented on a post before, told me that I was brave one time of dealing with the people that I'm actually dealing with. However, it's always beautiful, man. But when you bring that doctor in there, Dr. Hayes in there, she a Delta, by the way. You bring her in the mix, his father, dealing with HIV virus, doing his work on the HIV virus and so on and so forth. In the medical field, just let you know what I'm saying? You rubbing the right elbows. You know what I mean? Even with their religious beliefs and all of that, not all of them believe the same thing. Because I don't think Mike like that. You know what I mean? He's a little different than his father, as far as his spiritual beliefs. And his friend being a Muslim, or one of them being a Muslim, I don't know none of that really matters. You're talking about one thing, you kind of stay on topic. Unc might want to argue with him and debate about it, especially the brother who said something about Islam, right? Because he wanna go with Rizza Islam's neck right about now. However, that was a beautiful discussion. Part 2 will probably be a little bit more. If it was live, you could take questions and answers and things like that, and you can kind of get into some things that would be more specific to the conversation. So maybe part 2 will be more scheduled as far as dealing with certain vibes. But there's only an hour. He only does these shows for 1 hour, and then he's off. So it's not like this one where it's, this conversation was 2 hours. So I don't know if it'll be a part 1 or part 2. However, it is what it is. Y'all talking about the NFLPA want to see them 630,000 emails. Man, they ain't finna read all of them emails, bro. They ain't finna read all of them emails. They're just trying to catch the second person. Since they got the first one, they're trying to catch the second. So here's what I want to talk about today. Go subscribe to his channel, give him some love. But I want to talk to y'all about okay, it's fixed. I want to talk to y'all about something I said. I don't know if Aunt read it, but we're gonna get into it. And Brother Malcolm, he made a Facebook post about this, and I told him that I had some homework on it, influenced by the experts. Y'all know how I always gonna do it. Now, I did not attach these to the description of this video, so I am going to do that. And I'll do it. Let me do it before I even talk. Hold up. But Unc is here. All right, so Unc, you probably missed me explaining the fact that how I met the brother. Facebook, had a conversation. He know that I get in the trenches with vaccines. Plus, he's seen your work before, so he was already familiar with you as well. He was having a dialogue on this Tuesday. He wanted to just get my perspective on it, and he was just giving me an opportunity to speak on his platform, pretty much. I send him videos when we go live and stuff like that, so he already got like all of that. Plus, you know what I mean? He just don't comment, but he shows up. But he does comment on a couple of posts where there ain't a lot of noise. Mm-hmm. But it is. But it gave us an opportunity to be able to. You know what I mean?
I appreciate the alley oop though. Good looking.
Yeah. Get another doctor. Get familiar with another doctor, right? Mm-hmm. One that's willing to communicate with us, and she's open to that, and have those dialogues about vaccine science and Black people and all of that. And like she said, she didn't reopen her mouth about the situation and the status that we're in. Yeah, it's crazy, ain't it?
Yeah, it's crazy, yo. If you open your mouth, yo, you tripping.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she just, you know what I mean?
You gotta bring it through, yo. Bring it through one day.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that go. But so yeah, the brother cool brother. He really don't say much of anything like that. You know what I mean? We just share information in the inbox or videos.
Like family. It felt like
Right.
family on the motherfucker, yo, being around talking people.
Right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
good,
yeah. No,
like
no, no.
good
You're
brothers, yo, was
correct.
educated.
Correct. You're correct.
Without all the silly, overinflated, you know what I'm saying? Like they smarter than what they was. And then the dude that was 70 years old, I say, man, that's what I'm shooting for right there.
That's
I'm
his
shooting for
father.
that.
Yeah. That's
Right.
Big
I'm
Mike.
shooting
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah,
If
that's
I can be 70 right there, yo, I'm going in.
Oh yeah. Hey, he survived cancer.
Shit.
Yep.
You
Yep.
probably done switched up a whole lot of shit, I bet you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he did HIV work though. You know what I mean? You know, his working in the hospitals and things like that. He's frontlining that, so he's very familiar with that. He was impressed with the. Yeah, actually, I could tell. You know what I mean? Because that was my first time ever interacting with him or whatever, and he was pretty much impressed with where I started from or whatever. You know what I mean? And I think he wanted like dialogue or whatnot. So I'm probably sure that they probably gonna reach out and want to talk. And that's cool too. I'm up for it. But now I wanted to bring it to the people because people ain't subscribed to the channel. And then it's different if I just send people a video link and then they watch it. But you know, I still want them to go and, you know what I mean, go over there and give them some views and all of that stuff. But at the same time, I wanted to bring it to people live. I know on this platform, they're really not catching it. So this was a good way to alley-oop it and introduce them to that. And there might be some other topics that people in the chat might be interested in. But nah, man, I was gonna go in on that information that I sent you. I don't know if you got around to it, but
you talking about on the
multi-symptom inflammatory syndrome in children.
Oh, around the heart. They retracted the statement.
Nah, I did the retraction the other day. Nah, I'm talking about the Miss-C, you know, the novel virus. I sent it to you in a text message, bro. I sent all the sources directly to you in a text message on the 10th of October, Sunday. I mean, I know it's 2 days later, but Sunday, and I was like, homework is labeled homework, Miss-C. This is a topic that many people aren't really talking about. And the CDC came out with some information. Well, I think it was updated because Malcolm had mentioned it on his page where he's talking about multi-symptom inflammatory syndrome. So, you know, people were dealing with that. Also, you know, 12 had some information on there as well. And it was just pretty much talking about how this is coming up in regard to COVID, how's the taking place. But anyway, just to let me share my screen real quick. I know you're probably trying to dig up the source. Yeah, we really gonna reach though. I'm telling you, trust me. We're gonna reach all the way to the promised land. We'll have a dream like Martin Luther King. So there's an article right here published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation. Of course, they give us free access, published March 2021. Another one that was published in the same article, in the same journal, a bit later in the day, August 26th. Then you have another article. This is from last year, October 30th. First published here, and it gets into that. And then you have another article, which is January 2021. So, you know, I like to kind of walk backwards before going forward in the whole nine. So I just wanted to bring this to people's attention because people don't do it. So I'm going to start with the oldest article. So super antigenic character of an insert unique to SARS-CoV-2 spike supported by skewed TCR repertoire in patients with hyperinflammation. And basically it's talking about the significance of this is this. Hyperinflammatory syndrome reminiscent of toxic shock syndrome is absorbed in severe COVID-19 patients, including children with multi-symptom inflammatory syndrome in children, what they call Miss-C. The TSS is typically caused by a pathogenic superantigen stimulating excessive activation of the adaptive immune system, not the innate, the adaptive immune system. We show that the SARS-CoV-2 spike contains sequence and structure motifs highly similar to those of bacterial superantigen and may directly bind the T cell receptors. We further report a skewed T cell receptor repertoire in COVID-19 patients with severe hyperinflammation in support of such superantigenic effect. Notably, the superantigenic-like motif is not present in other SARS family coronaviruses, which may explain the unique potential for SARS-CoV-2 to cause both MIS-C and cytokine storm observed in adults. See it right here. So now, I don't know if that's clicking for anyone, but now y'all know the severity of it. Now, remember, this was published September 2020, and then it was updated on October, and then it was pressed. So they are looking at MIS-C in children and cytokine storms in adults. Now, the MIS-C associated with COVID-19 is a newly recognized condition in children with severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 infection. The children and adult patients with severe hyperinflammation present with the constellation of symptoms that strongly resemble toxic shock syndrome, an escalation of cytotoxic adaptive immune response triggered upon the binding of pathogenic superantigens to T cell receptors and or major histocompatibility complex class 2 molecules. Now, I want to stop right here because there's been a pseudoscientific claim by Robert, what's his name? Dr. Robert, man, I can't think of this dude's name. The dude who claimed that he invented mRNA. Whatever, we know his name, Robert Malone. So when he brings up the cytotoxic, he actually misinforms a whole bunch of people. But here we have this scientific article that's published in a journal that is actually showing you that there's a strong resemblance of what Robert was trying to say happens with the vaccine, but it doesn't. It's happening with the virus. The virus. So moving forward, here using structure-based computational models, we demonstrate the SARS-CoV-2 spike in the glycoprotein exhibits a high affinity motif for binding the TCRs and may form a ternary complex with MHC2, which is what I described earlier, major histocompatibility complex class 2. Now, the binding epitope on the S harbor a sequence motif unique to SARS-CoV-2, not present in other SARS-related coronaviruses, which is highly similar in both sequence and structure to the bacterial superantigen Staphylococcus intertoxin B. Now, this interaction between the virus and the human T cell could be strengthened by a rare mutation from a European strand of SARS-CoV-2. Furthermore, the interfacial region includes selected residues from an intercellular adhesion molecule. I know I'm losing the hell out of y'all with these molecules. Now, like the motif shared between SARS virus in 2003 and the 2019 pandemic. Now, the neurotoxin-like sequence motif in the receptor binding domain, remember, the receptor binding domain, if you look at your arm and you hold it in a 90-degree area, your fingers would be the spike. Your forearm down to your elbow would be your receptor binding domain. Now, in that receptor binding domain also exhibits a high tendency to bind the TCRs. So whatever you don't know it now, but whatever the TCRs is, bind, they connect there. So you have the tendency to see them bind right there in your receptor binding domain. Now, analysis of the TCR repertoire in adult COVID-19 patients demonstrate that those with severe hyperinflammatory disease exhibit TCR skewing consistent with superantigen activation. These data suggest that SARS-CoV-2 may act as a superantigen to trigger the development of MIS-C as well as cytokine storm in adult patients, with important implications for the adults of therapeutic approaches. Where you at, You done muted out, y'all. Now, let me go to this image. Y'all see this? This is what they're talking about. That TCR stuff, it's right here. Receptor binding domain is right here. As you can see, they got that little line lining up right here. That's where it's connecting at. All right. So let me just jump over here real quick and bring you up to speed on the reason for MIS-C and COVID-19. As of mid-September, the novel acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 has infected more than 30 million people, resulting in approximately 1 million deaths worldwide, including more than 200,000 deaths in the United States alone. Remember, this is January, early January. Now, fever, dry cough, breathing difficulties of gastrointestinal symptoms are typical features of coronavirus 19. Although 80% infected people develop a mild disease, approximately 20% progress to severe COVID-19, which is associated with the lung damage and breathing difficulties and may lead to respiratory failure and death. Now, exacerbations of the COVID-19 immune response manifest by extinctive cytokines released called cytokine storm, may lead to a multi-symptom inflammatory syndrome, which is fatal in 28% of cases. Let me rewind that a little bit. Everybody should know what a cytokine storm is. It's when something, like when you're infected with something and something happens too fast, sending a whole bunch of something somewhere else. Now, that something would be if you're infected and your immune system is trying to fight something off, and what it's trying to fight off, the response is too much to fight off whatever it is in its presence. Too much of something is always bad. And to make it in the simplest terms, if you, let me see if I can do this and make it correctly. You just bought a bottle of Sprite. Sprite would, the bottle of Sprite, the calmness in the Sprite would represent the body, the immune system, right? The moment you shake the bottle of Sprite up, it begins, you know what I'm saying? It begins to go crazy. Okay, so the shaking up would be an infection entering the body. Now the body is shaking up like a Sprite bottle. Now, depending on how you got the cap, if you've already loosened the cap or whatever, if you let loose of the cap, it shoot out, right? Well, let's just, I don't know what I could say the cap would possibly be, but I'm just trying to give you the analogy, the best way that you can understand how a cytokine storm happens, or the progression of a cytokine storm. Your body is your body's calm, your immune system is working, it ain't being penetrated, and then something comes and shakes it up and disturbs it and loosens the cap, and the next thing you know, it just explodes. So if you think of it like that, that's similar to a cytokine storm, and it can be fatal. Now, children can also be infected with SARS-CoV-2. However, most confirmed pediatric cases have a less severe outcome and milder symptoms. Now, in the late April 2020 reports from Europe described the emergence of a new febrile pediatric entity that involved persistent fever, system hyperinflammation, multi-organ involvement with prominent and severe GI symptoms, and cardiac shock and hypotension, requiring pediatric intensive care unit care in most cases. Some who developed this syndrome referred to COVID-19 associated with MIS syndrome, with MIS-C, also demonstrated clinical findings, including ethnomatosis. Where is Malcolm at when I need him for this word? Rashes, conjunctivitis, and inflammatory changes in the oral mucosa. Definition of Kawasaki disease. Y'all remember what Kawasaki disease is? However, although initially designated as Kawasaki-like, it soon became clear that the novel syndrome was very different from KD or KD shock syndrome, because MIS-C affect different demographics, and the clinical and laboratory parameters differ greatly between the three conditions. Not to bore y'all to death real quick. That gives you a basic understanding there. And then what comes published in this particular article, March, in this August, was that they began to continue to track MIS-C in children and find out more information. Well, let me go to Malcolm page. I want to show y'all something. Don't be stalking my brother either. Y'all see CK? All right, so boom. Now, this was published on the 6th of October by the Tennessee Department of Health. And this is telling you how to recognize MIS-C. It's a delayed immune response related to COVID-19. It's telling you children, adults, or young adults who keep certain symptoms after having COVID-19 might have MIS-C. They should see a doctor if they had COVID-19 or have been in close contact with someone who had COVID-19 within the past 6 weeks and now have the following. So this is the reason for this research. Ongoing fevers plus more than one of the following: stomach pain, diarrhea, vomiting, skin rashes, bloodshot eyes, dizziness or lightheadedness. Those are symptoms. Now remember, this is a delayed immune response. So you have people that, you know what I'm saying, have had COVID, and now all of a sudden they're running around here and they running around here and, man, what's going on? They running around here and they got these symptoms, then there's an issue. But there you have it. So y'all need to know this. This is one of those major reasons that you really want to deal with it from that perspective. So I don't want to read no long thing again, but I do want to give you just a, well, no, I ain't got to do all that because I'm going to be repetitive based on the other perspective. But I wanted to just bring a little bit of that to y'all attention and to let you know the seriousness of MIS-C and it's linked to COVID-19. It's important. We'll bring out more information later, but I did want to hit y'all up with that because, you know, show y'all what we on and let Unc study up. Let's see if he can catch up to us, normal people. But any questions, comments, concerns? Everybody on one accord, did y'all go over there and sub to the brother channel? We good to go. I think somebody just bought some books. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I think so. Do y'all have y'all copy of what SARS-CoV-2 taught me? I know there's some people in the chat that said they got their book. Teddy, I seen your comment in the chat. You said that you got your book. I dig that. On page bookstore, STB. Somebody from Shreveport, Louisiana was just in here. Yep. Peace to you a minute ago. Them all tell everything. But do y'all have y'all copy of what SARS-CoV-2 taught me? Nahisi said he got his today. Cool. Peace, bro. Can't wait to see what you think of. Everything is everything. You ain't ordered it. When you ordered it, you ordered it on a Friday. But it was sent because you got a tracking number. Let me hold on. Let me put these links in the chat. I mean, in the description of the video. There's a lot more to Miss C that needs to be uncovered. But that's just pretty much for most people who are unfamiliar with Miss C. Pretty much an introduction to Miss C and the reason why it's relevant and a part of these conversations. And that we need to take a deeper dive into what's going on with that. Is it serious enough to garner our attention, and what we need to look for, the signs and symptoms? So I just wanted to kind of, surface it for you. And then maybe one day we come back and we get y'all updated on all that, and we can have that full conversation and get into some more of the science. What's the symptom of a double cytokine? Shoot, if you having a double cytokine, boy, he said, I got receipts. Yeah, you got your tracking number too. With your receipt, you got a tracking number. I don't know why some of y'all ain't got this book though. What y'all look like in the chat on every episode? I ain't got your book yet. I'm trying to let y'all know straight up and down, man. If you got the book right now, well, I ain't gonna say if you got the book. For those of you who have the book, and even if you just flip through it, or if you begin to start reading it, all of y'all have been saying the same thing about the book. All the feedback that I've been getting has been the same dang on thing. They let me know that I either did something absolutely correct. Peace, my brother. I salute and appreciate you for compiling the books. What SARS-CoV-2 taught me. My reading starts tomorrow. Oh, that's what's up, bro. See, somebody else just hit me up and let me know that they got their book today. So that's what's up. But yeah, man, everybody been saying the same thing. For those who have already began to read it, and I've gotten some nice little feedback, but I don't take that to mean much yet. I want you to get further into the book, and then I want you to be able to, go through and handle things the way you handle things, and we'll try to deal with that. I know this dude ain't took no 6 calls though. Hold on, y'all. This dude here tripping. But nah, man, what y'all gotta say? Cause Home came in here, his mic open, but I think he might have been on the cell phone. It might be on the other line. What up, Chef? We're gonna talk about Egypt. Let me see what Chef's saying real quick. What up, Chef? Go ahead. But yeah, man. So look, just get the book. I mean, I know I know some of y'all don't like me. You just tune in and you don't want to support it. It's fine. But the goal of it is to save lives, despite any difference that you may have with me. It ain't about me. It ain't about you. It's about the lives that we can save. So uh, that's a good question. I think I know of one person who is immunocompromised that is not vaccinated. It's not necessarily immunocompromised. They actually have something serious that they're dealing with, and they need an alternative. So we'll see what they say. Yeah, I wouldn't think Unc back. Yep.
Yeah.
What up, Unc?
What up, man?
Not much.
Yeah, man. Nah, that go. Where you at in the conversation?
I ain't nowhere, yo. I done got all the way down the line. I done ran through the information, bro.
Oh, man. Well, that everybody get your vaccinations.
Why you ain't talk to Sheffrin? Sheffrin want to interview.
Sheffrin want to do what?
He
You say why?
want to get Cedric to interview me on the book.
Why I didn't get what?
Why you ain't saying nothing to Sheffrin about when you trying to do the book thing, man?
Man, you supposed to know that, man. I don't know. Everybody be running around.
Man, Sheffrin need to know this, yo.
All right, shit. I'll tell him tomorrow. Hell. I thought I told them niggas.
I thought you did too, but you never know with you.
Shit, it's gonna be. When you say you switch the time, when is it gonna be?
I ain't
Friday.
Friday. All I said was Friday was the release date. You said you wanted to do it when the book released.
All right, Friday. Bet.
And everybody who ain't got it before Friday can pre-order it right now. I'm gonna send a copy out to you in the morning. You gonna have your book before most people.
All y'all really gotta do is turn the forward out of that motherfucker and keep that, and the rest of that shit you complicated. Hell with all that shit. There's a lot of signs from Sean in that motherfucker, yo. Just read the forward, yo. And get the vaccine. You just know it, yo. Shit, boy. Black people something else in this world, boy. Copycats, boy. We found white people too out deaf, yo. For real. The ignorant white people. That's what I'm tired of.
Yeah.
Really of, yo.
You know what I was looking at the doctor page, and I was kind of listening to some things that she was saying on the page on the side while we was live, and but then she came back and she reinforced some things that she said about her reach. And then she says, I can reach on a HBCU level, and I can reach on a Yale and Harvard level. What that tells me is that little old us, you know what I mean, could get that reach expanded and like more people tune into what we got going on. So yeah, it would be great. I mean, to do whatever we can do and then get people on there to handle business and move forward. Ain't no sense in making connections and not utilizing them. And then you basically said what I said, like it's our job to beat up the ignorant people.
Yeah, we beat up the ignorant, beat them sober, beat them till we beat them sober. And yeah, because I love to call out. Call you out. I'm gonna call your name out because you're proud of it. So I'm gonna call your name.
Mm-hmm.
But you're definitely proud of doing that, and let everybody know what you're doing. Simple as that. This is what you're doing. You're doing this. Simple as that. That phone is breaking up already. I'm going through this crazy area. Ain't it breaking up?
Nah, we can hear you.
Oh, wow. They did say they got another tower close by. Built it up. AT&T. You can hear me going through this area, yo?
Yeah, we hear you right now temporarily.
Yeah, but that's why, just for the record, man, I call names because I don't believe in hide. I don't believe in hiding the thieves, yo. It don't make sense, yo. Like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like when you got a pedophile in your family, yo, and don't nobody want to call him out for this shit, yo. He or she is still allowed to practice with impunity. Okay? So that's why I call out names. There is no other way for me to do it. I don't understand another way. The tiptoeing through the tubes, I'm not gonna be able to do it. I'm just not. And maybe if enough people called out the names, right, they wouldn't be allowed to go on these platforms and still promote the anti-vaccine rhetoric, right, in places that seemingly are vaccinated. When I say seemingly, I mean that they don't have enough firepower, right, to knock that crazy shit out like we do, yo. Like we got the thermonuclear weapons. You trust me. Like you got some authorized weapons. It's authorized, right? With the stamp, official stamp, and Harvard, Yale, Morgan State, college, doctorate, and then you got some unauthorized shit that you go on the back and you wheel it out. Because when you whip it out, don't nobody know where the hell it came from. That's what we is, yo. We like surprise the shit out you. Unauthorized. When they send us the Navy SEALs in and shoot them up, you know what I'm saying? Don't nobody know they was on the grid and then they leave. We like that. Like you don't even know. Yeah, we gonna have that conversation with everybody. So wait, how am I trying to put this together? I'm simply saying that these charlatans amongst us are so shifty and so complete at what they do that they regularly find themselves on platforms where everybody is vaccinated, right? And still get their shit off. And the vaccinated people giving their ass credit for being sharp and intelligent. How the hell is that happening, Sean?
I don't know. TikTok, short attention spans, like stuff like that only happen when you know what I mean. People got short attention spans. But real quick, but not to get off subject, I just want to jump somewhere, and then I want to come right back. So right now, you know what I mean. The FDA is denying Moderna an opportunity to do booster shots because the vaccine is working too good.
Yeah.
So for those of you who had Moderna, there you go.
Yeah, have you talked about the pill they trying to get that emergency use for?
The pill, nah, Merck, nah. They could do that, but that's not. You still gonna need a vaccine.
No, bro. See, don't do that, because that's what the fools going. The fools are going to do that game with y'all. So that's why I wanted to kind of bring it up. And the pill will be a therapeutic. The best weapon to fight against COVID is a vaccine. So I don't want to hear this new shit. See, this what they're gonna do. Let's get ahead of the curve, Sean.
I'm about to blow your mind. Go ahead and do what you about to do, and then I'm about to bring you a sister who did the most evilest thing you know, and I'm gonna put that on the screen. But go ahead. Let's get ahead of the people first.
All right, so you'll find these anti-vaxxers, right, that are thoroughly entrenched against EUAs and AUs and the government and all that, right? And medicine, and they will thoroughly support this pill here, right? But the problem with that is that the pill is going through clinical trials, right? They're doing it the right way, and they're trying to get, emergency use authorization. So then why in the hell are you supporting the pill and then not support the vaccine? It absolutely makes no sense, Sean. No anti-vaxxer should support this therapeutic. I say therapeutic because it's after the fact. So you will support a medicine after a person catches coronavirus, but you won't support a vaccine, you know what I'm saying, that will stop you from catching COVID-19. It's the misinformation flip-flop. Well, go ahead, Sean.
No, I mean I agree with what you're saying right there from that position. I mean, this is where you trap the pseudo, because the minute that they be like, see, they got a pill, and they don't have a full command of what is going on with that pill and what is used for, then it's gonna mess them up. However, it's gonna beat the herb.
Yeah, it's gonna beat the herb.
So,
beat the herb, bro.
Right. So it's gonna mess you all the way up. But oh boy, yeah, Mike said it's a pleasure to have you on the panel, He said, man, you know what I'm saying? Thank you for rolling through. We can't wait to get you on again. And he always appreciates sharing the knowledge and stuff like that. But let me share my screen real quick, because I'm gonna mess your head up with this one. It says, how long before the country starts seeing herd immunity? Bruh, it could be because of Delta. We have to have probably 90% of the people vaccinated.
Hell yeah.
We got, you know what I'm saying? They looking at 90% of the people vaccinated. We got a shorter way to go, but a longer way to go. Because it's flu season.
63 million people left to get vaccinated, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
Black people, we got 53 million. 40 million is black people.
Yeah, black people leading the wrong race.
Damn, yo, how the hell we do that, yo?
We want to be first in something, but we
damn.
Ain't no way in the wrong race, yo.
Hey, Sean, when do we look up and say, damn, yo, them motherfuckers actually left us? Like, when do you realize, yo, that you was on the wrong side? Where the very white people that's trying to kill everybody, you know what I'm saying, have left you to get killed.
Yo, but hold on. I gotta play this for you. Can you hear?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I gotta play this.
Victoria Prophet must be really, really sorry that the truth is going to get out. Melanie Cornelise taken away in handcuffs Monday night after using her time at the podium to call out the school board chair. Cornelise addressing Victoria Prophet over allegations of fraud stemming from the chair's unemployment claim last year. The Chesapeake parent is running for office as a Democrat in the State House of Delegates, District 78. Police say Cornelise was arrested for trespassing after she wouldn't leave school grounds. She tells us her First Amendment rights were violated at the meeting.
No, I didn't get to say even a minute of my speech before they decided to hold me up in handcuffs. No. Ask Victoria Prophet. Go back and look and see what Victoria Prophet did. She committed fraud.
The school board's lawyer says there was an investigation, but there was nothing improper done, and the case was closed. No charges were ever filed against Prophet. They claim this is a campaign stunt.
I just have been in politics in Chesapeake since 2010, and this is not the way that Chesapeake does politics. This maliciousness that has happened towards me through this last 6, 7, 8 months that has affected my life. This is not the way that we want to do politics in Chesapeake. And it really saddens me that it has come to some people doing politics like this for good people.
Meantime, one Suffolk mother and Chesapeake teacher sharing a stern message Monday for anyone listening.
COVID is not over. No matter what people who have been standing up here have said.
Sperry lost her little girl last month from COVID-19 complications. She says her 10-year-old daughter, Teresa, was healthy when she came down with the illness.
I was sitting next to my healthy daughter's deathbed. She died 5 days after showing symptoms.
Sperry, still visibly distraught. She tells us Teresa's funeral was just on Sunday. Meantime, Cornelise is now out of police custody, but will have to face a judge at a later time.
All right, let me
So-
mute that real quick. So, it gets worse. So, they're saying this lady, she buried her 10-year-old who died from COVID, and less than 24 hours later, she was combating misinformation at a school board meeting. So, again, this sister who just buried her 10-year-old daughter was at a school board meeting combating COVID misinformation from a lady that was in there that was kicking that bullshit.
Who they locked up though?
Yeah. One more time. They locked up the lady that was spreading the misinformation. The lady who buried her daughter less than 24 hours ago, who died from COVID. She's in a school board meeting the next day fighting misinformation.
Yeah, that's crazy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Why should she be in that position to fight against the crazy shit? The school board, so yeah, the school board mean anybody can come up in there with the dumb shit though.
Right, but that's what these anti-vaxxers, they've been using the platform. They've been using school board meetings to sneak their little talking points in and record it so they can go viral.
Yeah, I ain't know that, yo. I'd have been at a school board meeting and blasted the fuck out of them. I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna let y'all know right now, yo, that the anti-vax information, yo, is straight racist information, yo, because it affects black people at a higher level, at a greater rate, yo. We can't even afford to be anti-vax. And I think that's so anybody, any black person promoting anti-vax information, yo, they need to go down in history as treason to the black people, yo. Remember we went on the show, yo, they was talking about we was practicing treason. Remember that, yo?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what? The hell? I mean, they was going in. I had to just, that's when they got hot. I was like, oh, we treason? How many lives we causing? How many black people lives we causing to die? We treason, though. We give you good sound scientific information, but we treason because y'all don't understand the shit. Because y'all can't buy a book and comprehend the shit. Because y'all fighting with y'all common sense. Common sense is to say if they enslaved you, then they could give you a vaccine to kill you. Common sense.
Yeah, that ain't too common.
Oh, man, common sense, man, is the enemy, yo. Because it's your natural, your natural common sense on something. But the understanding viruses, all that shit ain't no, that shit, understanding that ain't natural, yo. It take schooling, yo. It take information, yo. It take studying.
Yeah, so there's a new thing going viral regarding the Harvard study, but the author of the Harvard study is laughing at them because they got it wrong. They were twisting the information of the study to mean something.
Of course they was. They always die in these source.
Yep, the paper that they're using actually supports vaccinations, but they're saying that it doesn't support vaccinations. So their misinterpretation of the data is crazy. So we'll probably see some of that go around, and we just have to stick to recognizing the Harvard study. So I'll put that out there for everybody. If you hear people talking about the Harvard study, that's one of the reasons why. Like, look, man, y'all in the chat, man, go ahead and get this book, man. Go ahead and get this book. There you go, right there. Wrong link.
Be right back, Sean.
What you be? Oh yeah, all right.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
All right. So anyway, let me change my profile up. I ain't got no rights. I gave y'all the wrong link. Anyway, what y'all got going on in the streets? I can give y'all some more information. So when you hear the Harvard study, y'all already know what to do. A police officer just got it. A North Carolina police officer got infected with COVID and dies 2 weeks before his wedding or weeks before his wedding. People think that it ain't real, man. They don't wear masks. They just walking around here freely like whatever. Yep. I'm telling you, you get this book, it's going to help you. It's going to change your perspective. It's going to give you some insight. It's going to educate you. You're going to be able to use it as a tool to combat some of the craziness. You're going to be able to, of course, you're going to learn from it, but you're going to be able to retain some things just the way that I actually did it. Now, I'm telling you, for all the people that got the book, they saying the same thing about the book. I'm waiting on somebody to say something different. And I appreciate the feedback that I actually get. People who posting it and tagging me in the post and stuff like that. Appreciate that. Some people made it through the first chapter. I seen an image. I seen a picture of a whole notepad. Somebody had a whole notepad about a book, and then they were answering the questions they was writing in their book and all that. They didn't answer the questions, so we know they ain't gonna. They can't share their book with somebody, so they didn't gave away the answers. If y'all get the book, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Uh-oh, what I do now? I already did this. Why does this keep showing up? All right, so yeah, we supposed to be Pseudo Killers Live Friday book release thing. The book is being still in pre-order status. You still can pre-order your copy now. You don't have to wait until the release date to order the book. You order the book right now. I'm gonna be able to get your book out there to you ASAP. I'm going directly to the post office and make sure that your book gets to you immediately after I get my haircut, of course. Gotta get my haircut. I'm looking rough. See what Brother Marv, he back. I see you Unbiased. You know what I'm talking about. Lucky 50. Yeah, man, and all the Lucky 50. Yeah, I'm signing books. Straight up. Let me give y'all the reality of this thing. I don't even want to be on the screen, but little books. It's 5 of the books right here. 5 of the books. 5 of the books. Look at them jokers, bro. It's at work in there, yo. Yeah, it's at work in there. Look how shiny they is. Man, where your book at? Where your book at, yo? Where you? This is the pre-orders. Come on now. Get your book. I'm telling you. Oh, very well sourced. Very well sourced. Don't play with me. 30 pages. You see them still sourcing, still sourcing, still sourcing. Look, sources. You know what I'm saying? Sources. Sources. Come on now. Get your book. Link in the description, link in the chat. Get your book. I'm telling you. I ain't even saying that if you like me or don't like me. I'm just saying you know, if you got that as a tool, I'm telling you, you're gonna learn something. You're gonna learn something. I guarantee you're gonna learn something. You're gonna appreciate it too. Yep. You're gonna appreciate that, Joker. You got 100% participation on mobile. That's what's up. But look, man, I don't want to hold y'all up, man. The show 3 hours long because we did 2 hours over there on that platform. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate the support and the love. I know some people don't like the way that I do certain things, and it's okay. I'm not gonna please everybody, but I wish you the best in your endeavors, and hopefully, you know what I mean. I will see you guys soon. I do see other people have hopped on, so look, man, go ahead and get it right now, so I can print my labels out, sign your books. Get your books out there to you ASAP. I think people that have been purchasing the book, the books have been coming in. Like I said, you've seen them all on social media. We try to make a big deal out. I ain't trying to make a big deal out of it or nothing, but I am proud of this particular text because we're in the middle of a global pandemic. And what better way than attack the misinformation that's still occurring in the global pandemic. Brother Matthew said, is anyone else live? That I don't know of, bro. That I don't know of if anybody else is live. I know you might be trying to pass your time or whatnot, but I don't know. I don't know if you saw this whole thing, if you catch the replay or whatnot, but it is what it is. Let me see something. Nah, I don't see nobody. Well, I might not be subscribed to people that you might subscribe to that will possibly be live. So there we go. I'm gonna slide on out of here, man. Y'all ain't got nothing for me, man. Get the book, man. What SARS-CoV-2 taught me. Straight up. Oh, you can't forget. You can't forget to get this book.